Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Elta from the U.S. in Ohio. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, for this wonderful time that we can celebrate the Sabbath. We can think about things that Yahweh, the God of Israel, has given us, and it's good that we can join here, as the situation of the world, as you know, around you, is such that the world is in a panic mode, lockdown, and travel restrictions pretty much in many countries, and so on and so forth. You probably heard the news yesterday. The president of US came out and said that he's doing everything in his power to help the people of the United States, to protect them, to keep them safe, and there's going to be setting up testing centers in almost every place. Walmart is contributing to its car parks, parts of the car parks being used. Walgreens, Target, all these places are helping out to give parts of their, because they have huge car parks, so they're giving a portion of their car park where probably some kind of trailer will be placed in which people will be or can go for testing. People who are concerned that they may have the coronavirus can go and get tested, and so on and so forth. And you heard about the tissue paper running out, you heard about the hand sanitizer running out, things like that. People basically in panic mode. Now, here's there's a lot that can be said. Many years ago, I would attend churches and hear what the pastors had to say about tribulation. And every church that I, at that time, attended, I heard, pastor teaching one or some other, one kind of or another kind of tribulation. It was either pre-tribulation, the world's going to be in such a state that, you're going to be crying, or you're going to be seeking God, and you're going to be sorry that you're alive at that time, blah, 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 those kind of things. And then, it was in one form or another, depending on your denomination, you were either going to be going through that fire, or you were not going to go through that fire, and the Jews were going to get it because the Jews disobeyed God, and Jews did wrong, and blah, 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 and on it goes. You heard all of that BS, and I did too. So the reality is this today, that we are not in any kind of tribulation, yet look at what's going on. Look at around you. Look at look at the people who are panicking versus the people who are not panicking. Now, I read up on the news, story about Israel, that there were about 39 cases in Israel. 25 of those cases came out of the, Palestinian region, Bethlehem region, because what had happened, thanks to Christians who go over there, they had taken the virus over there, in Bethlehem, at the Church of Mary, and they had infected 7 hotel staff, and then the 7 hotel staff in turn, contaminated or affected some Americans that were staying there. So all in all, these 25 people that were infected, they came from one man infecting them from Greece, a Christian, tour group that went over there. And then in the Jewish side, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, he made a call and he said to the nation, he said that anybody that enters the country in Ben Gurion Airport, by the way, Ben Gurion is in Tel Aviv, if you don't know, and Ben Gurion is one of the major airports in Israel, and he said, and Terminal 1 is a big terminal over there that serves the people that come and go out of the country internationally. And I've been there several times. Rabbi Kefa's been there, and probably some of you have been there too. And so you've probably gone through the, rigorous testing over there, and search and all that. So, having said that, the point was this, that I read the report that Terminal 1 was like a ghost town, because the Prime Minister made the statement in Israel that those that are coming in, people from outside, tourists, Christians and so on and so forth, he said that they must self-quarantine for 2 weeks. They must prove it to the authorities at the airport that they can self-quarantine for 2 weeks, thus they will be allowed into the country. And if they cannot prove it, they'll be sent back. So I guess that's why Terminal 1 is a ghost town. From one of the videos, a friend had sent a video. It was a little report on the video saying that Terminal 1 at Ben Gurion Airport is a ghost town. So not that I was listening to formally on the news. It was just somebody that sent a video and I heard it on the video. Having said that, then there's the other side of the coin, that in April 29 or somewhere thereabouts, in the month of April 2020, this year, that an asteroid is going to strike the Earth and going to destroy the Earth. You might have heard of it. Asteroid is called OR2. I had people concerned writing to me, asking me, Kohen, is this going to happen? And I was like, I just sat there and I was asking somebody else that this so-called asteroid, what's the stories out there for this asteroid? And they're like, in the conspiracy theories front, they believe that this might hit the Earth and destroy the Earth. It might be one of these conspiracies. But anyhow, the truth of the matter is this, that there is an asteroid that is going to pass by the Earth. I think, don't quote me, but we're looking at the passing of this asteroid is to the effect of 4 million miles, about 4 million miles. It is about 4 million miles away from the Earth, and it will pass by. It'll be like me flying in a plane, and I'm going to Pakistan, land there, and England is over there on the left-hand side, to the west side. So I'll be kind of landing in Pakistan, and somebody will get a report in England that Simon just landed in Pakistan. That's the situation with the asteroid. If you compare it, it's thousands of miles away. So it's not even going to touch the Earth. Maybe passing through, you might have a whiff, of its speed, I guess, and maybe you might get a few, places get heavy rain, or might get a little, thunder and storms. That's about the story of the asteroid, by the way. And, whenever you ask questions like that, I'm happy to answer your questions. But you just got to ask yourself one question. God, in the Bible, a lot of people say, oh, I trust God and I know God, but a lot of people don't even know who God is. God in the Bible, and you know the name, I don't have to keep saying his name for you to know. He didn't say that I'm going to destroy the Earth. He said, I'm going to restore Israel back. Now, do you seriously believe that an asteroid is going to destroy us? That's just the basic question. If you, as a believer, whether you put your faith in the Torah or don't, whether you call yourself a Christian or don't, whether you're a Muslim or a Jew, doesn't matter what you call yourself. But if you put your faith in God, you're never going to entertain a thought that Earth is going to be destroyed. You're never going to entertain it. So the question shouldn't even arise. So yes, you can ask the question. I'm not saying you can't ask the question. So you can ask it. And my answer will always be the standard answer. God is never going to destroy the Earth. Never. And take that from me. Never means never. Now, coming back to the Earth and reality. And I'm not saying this out of jest. And I'm not saying this out of malice or out of hatred. But I had a message come to me yesterday from a student who was in the country of Abu Dhabi. And, you guys don't pronounce it the way they pronounce it, because, you don't speak Arabic. So they don't call it Abu Dhabi. They call it Abu Zabai. So an Abu Zabai, or Abu Dhabi, as you people call it, or some of you call it Abu Dubai, there was a student that I had, and together, it was Rabbi John. You might have heard of his name. And Rabbi John was one of my students. We went to Israel together in 2014. Rabbi Kefa is fully aware of him. He knows him very well. And he was a student at that time, and he accompanied me to Israel when we went to do the repentance prayer on behalf of the tribes of Israel. He accompanied me with his wife, and some of the other family were with us as well, some of the other mishpacha that we had. Now, after that, as you remember, when I gave the lecture in Texas about not confronting homosexual people and not forcing the law, in their throats, so to speak, and to be compassionate and to love people like that, and to, not go out and stand with placards as Christians do, but, learn to love people, learn to accept that they do things differently from you, and they don't have to live up to your standard. And when I said that, and when I taught that in Texas, a lot of you meaning not you in the room, but people who were in the room at the time, they went around, slandering me. I have videos still online on the net. You could probably go find these videos where they are still slandering me. And they think it's some kind of jihad against me, some kind of holy war against Rabbi Simon Altev, because Rabbi Simon Altev said that don't, hate the gays, right? So some of these people did that. Now, when I gave those teachings, then what happened, this Rabbi John, a student of mine, he didn't like that teaching either. Instead of having compassion, instead of, being in peace and asking me, privately maybe, that, why I had said that and what was my reasons for saying that, he didn't. He just left like everybody else. That's it, we are leaving, bye-bye. And I said, bye-bye. Good luck to you, because you left the Kohen in the gate. And may God do to you as you did to me. And so they went. And so having said that, I had no malice in my heart. I had nothing bad about this person. He was my student. He just up and left. And I didn't say nothing. I just said, you know what? And his students at the time, they were all gung-ho about, hey, Rabbi Simon taught this about homosexuals. He must be put down, and so on and so forth. And I said, go try it. Go try putting down the Kohen and and I'll see how successful you're going to be. Because you stand up against the God of Israel, not against me. And I will see who stands last. So I just left it at that. And you saw some American students, and again I have nothing against them, and they did their malice. The malice was putting my name on YouTube, maligning me, doctoring my videos, and putting videos up saying, oh, he said this, oh, he said that, and on and on it went. And I just discarded it, I just put it down, and I said, you know what, let God serve justice, and I'll just stay in my own peace. And I continued in my peace. Baruch Hashem Yahweh that I did. And last night, I thought it was Rabbi John who had wrote to me. It was actually his wife. And this is what she had to say. She said, Rabbi, my husband has passed away. He's dead. He died 2 months ago. And I said, I'm really, really sorry, Mrs. John. I'm very, very sorry that your husband died. But your husband was not a good student. He was a stubborn man. He did not reason. And he listened to other people. And look where he went. I said, 5 years is not long time. 5 years is yesterday. And I said, I spent time with this man. I sat in their home. I ate with them. And I said, I'm really, I don't have the words to express my grief that this man died. And he wasn't even yet 60 years old. And she told me, she said, soon after he left you, he acquired a kidney disease after that. And he was wrestling with his kidney disease. And he wasn't a poor man. She said all the money that he had saved up, it went into the kidney disease, trying to cure it. She said, we lost all our money. She said he was due for a kidney transplant because his kidneys must have given up. He was due for a kidney transplant. And you know what happened? Whilst he was waiting, this January 2020, he had a heart attack and he died. So, I just was so upset, when I heard that. And the woman was struggling over there in India. She's gone back to India, to Bangalore. Bangalore is an IT city. It's like Silicon Valley in California. And I was so upset. And I heard that. And I basically just, could only say a few words to her of comfort her, basically. Daniel A.K. Torah is saying that it was one of the greatest teachings I ever heard. I listened to that lecture twice. gave me one of the greatest perspectives of my life and changed my whole perspective in life. Toda Rabbi for that lecture. So, Rabbi Zechariah is not here right now. Rabbi Hananiah is here. He was in that lecture as well. Rabbi Zechariah heard it. Rabbi Hananiah heard it. They knew why I was saying this. In fact, one of the rabbis at the time that was with us is no longer with us. His son was gay. And he didn't know how to handle that situation. And he told me in private afterwards that, Rabbi Simon, my son is gay and I don't know how to handle the situation. And I told him, handle it with compassion. Don't force Torah to everybody you meet, not even to your son. And I taught him how to handle it with right perspective. And he did. And he said, that's what I will do, because I didn't know what to do with it. So anyway, he's not with us, and wherever he is, may he be safe. But my point is this, that, you are treating the Kohen like he's some kind of trash. You come to him when you need help, and you go away when you don't need help. I am the Kohen in the gate. Yahweh placed me here. I don't care what this Jew said, what that Jew said, what this Christian is saying, what that Christian is saying. I don't give two hoots about it. All I can tell you is God picked me out of England and He placed me in America. And I followed God to the letter. And I don't care if anybody likes it or don't like it. I don't give a damn about it. But I will tell you this much, that those people that stayed, that listened, that tried to get understanding and perspective, they are here today. And they are having the greatest of blessings in their life. And those that left with slander, malice, hatred, they are dead and they are suffering today. And I'm not saying this because I feel gloat over it and be happy about it. It's really, I say it with sadness in my heart, that it needn't be like that. When Moses took the children of Israel out of Egypt, out of all of that suffering, 82 years of hard suffering. They had 82 years of hard suffering in Israel. They tell you 400 years and all that. Forget about 400 years. Because 400 years was a total sojourn. 400 years was not the slavery, by the way. The only slavery they served slavery, hard slavery as I say it, was about 82 years. 82 years of hard suffering under the Pharaoh's hand. That means there's got to be two kings at least. Two kings of Egypt would have caused them to stay in that slavery. And before that they had wonderful lives. They had beautiful lives. They had lands, they had cattle, they had sheep, and nobody was the wiser and nobody bothered them. By the way, after the events of Joseph as the prime minister of Egypt, they had wonderful lives, and that continued for a number of hundreds of years. That continued for hundreds of years. But then came a time they became slaves. And that slavery lasted about, in total, depends who you listen to, between 82 to 85 years. Total. And some might even say 86 years. It doesn't matter. Minus or plus 5, it don't matter. 80 or 86. But the point is this, that they disrespected the Kohanim as well. Moses was from the tribe of Levi, or Lavi, however you want to pronounce it. In Pakistan they pronounce it Lavi. In Israel they pronounce it Levi. So, it's just a way you place the dots and the dashes. So it can be done either way. So having said that, Moses went to Israel, sent by God from outside Israel to free these people. Moses couldn't care less, right? Moses had his own life. He had his wives. He couldn't care less about Israel. But Moses was told by God, you got to go and do this, because you are the man for the job. And Moses looked for excuses. Moses said this and Moses said that. I haven't got the tongue. I haven't got the speech. I'm not strong enough, and, I'm getting on in age. But God was told that you have to go, Moses. You've been chosen for this job. And your brother, your elder brother, Aaron, he will come and meet you. And he will accompany you. So Moses, after all that excuses and, trying to find reasons not to go, he listened to God and went. And when he went to these people, Aaron was always a priest. Aaron wasn't like a non-priest, he was always a priest. And Moses had told the people that Aaron is going to be the high priest, and he is the priest, and that he will walk the priesthood. And he was already walking the priesthood before even Moses made him a priest. Because he was a free man. He was a free man. He could travel anywhere he wanted to. He went out of Egypt to meet Moses, which means he was a free man. The priesthood never suffered slavery. They were actually paid salary by the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, to do their priesthood, by the way. If you didn't know that, that might be news to some of you. We were never slaves. But the rest of Israel were in slavery. And so Moses freed those slaves. He took them out. He didn't have to, but he did. Because God told him, you have to go. I don't want to hear a second word from you. Go. And he went. And when he came out, and when he argued with God, and when God said to him, you are not entering the land. Because, at such and such point you did this. You did this thing wrong. And now you're not going to enter the land. And Moses said, but God, he said, no buts. You're not entering the land, okay? You're staying out. I have a place for burial for you. And you're going to go up there in the mountain, and that's where you're going to be buried, and nobody's going to know about your burial place either. So Moses then, pleaded to God, okay, at least show me the land. And God said, okay, go up on the mountain and I'll show you the land, but you're not entering it. I don't want to hear a word after this. And so Moses was taken up on the mountain. Moses saw the land. Moses was happy to see the land, and Moses knew that that was his mission. His mission was not to enter the land. His mission was to bring the people out, and bring them out and let them enter the land. And the entering of the land was going to be done through Moses' student. His most faithful student was no one else but Joshua. Joshua, the son of Nun. He was a faithful student from the 10 tribes. He wasn't even from the tribe of Judah or Benjamin, the favored tribes. He was from 10 tribes. He was an Ephraimite. And Joshua was the one that entered the land with the rest of the people. And Joshua was the most faithful student that Moses had. He never left Moses. Joshua's history speaks for itself. Joshua never left Moses, by the way. And Joshua was faithful to the last day of his death with Moses. And, when Moses died and when Moses was alive, Joshua was all around him, always listened to him, always did whatever Moses said. But Joshua received the greatest blessing of all from his teacher, that he was taking Israel into the blessed land. Wow, what a blessing. I tell you, what a blessing, right? When we read that today, that Joshua led the people of Israel into the land. And yet the person who brought them out, Moses himself, was not allowed to go. So, God has his reasons, and we don't need to know the reasons. We don't have to know why God did something. But it's a good idea to see that God has his personal reasons for everything. What is the point behind all this? And we're going to look at this parsha today in a little depth, because I think it's a good idea to look at it. It's the Sabbath, not just because it's the Sabbath, but it's a good idea. But I wanted to also speak to you about, somebody made a comment on one of the YouTube videos and said, how can Rabbi Kefa have a Chinese wife and allow her to eat pork or shrimp or whatever it is that she likes to eat? And how can he teach us Torah when he don't keep Torah? So he was like, this person who listened to the video or the audio of, because we put all our audios on YouTube, and he listened to it and he left a remark saying that, Rabbi Kefa this. Let me answer that publicly today. There was a time that, maybe including myself, although I don't think I was, but let's just say me as well, we were very zealous, overzealous in fact, with the Torah. And, we were saying that we have to keep our homes clean and, away from people who are going to pollute it with unclean foods or whatever. Maybe we did say that. Maybe we did. Maybe I am guilty of that too. And I like to apologize if I'm guilty of that. But I will tell you this much. Rabbi Benaiah is not here in this room right now, because if he was, he'll be able to confirm this. And also there was also talk about, well, you didn't used to let the people's wives go to church and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't recall it, because I remember going to McKinney in Texas, Rabbi Benaya's home at that time, and he was married to his wife, and his wife was adamant that she wanted to go to church, and she did not want to follow Rabbi Benaya or Torah in that sense. And I remember sitting there at the time in McKinney and saying to Rabbi Benaya and saying to his wife to her face, and I said to Rabbi Benaya, do not stop your wife from going to church. If she wants to go to church, let her go to church. Do not stop her. And I said to her, no one is going to force you from from going to the church. If your pastor is phoning you and saying to you that come to church, and he don't teach you the Sabbath, and he don't teach you nothing else, and I said to Rabbi Benaya, I said, so be it. You just love her as your wife. Either way, you still love her the same, and if she decides to follow Torah, fine. And if she don't, fine still, because she's the mother of your children, and she is your wife. At the end of the day, you have to show compassion to her. And so Rabbi Benaya kindly, faithfully did exactly that. He didn't punish her, and he didn't say to her, you are a sinner, and you are this and you are that. Just like every home, he had his little issues. Maybe the laundry is not washed on time, or maybe something else, and he had his little issues. But it did not highlight them. And it did not make a big deal that his wife was going to church, because I already told him, let her go, and let her be. And I remember that the pastor used to phone the rabbi's wife all the time. Don't listen to Kevin. Because that was his Gentile name. Don't listen to Kevin. Come to church. So, what could I say? I had never said to the wife that you can't go to church. I had simply said to Rabbi Benaya, I told Rabbi Benaya, and I tell all of you the same, is that you are a covering for your wife. Your wife is not a stick to beat her up with. Just because she can't do something doesn't mean that she has to do it, because look, you as a person, as a head of the household, are placed by God to keep the Torah. In other words, the Torah is given to you. If you are an Israelite, and if you claim to be biological descendant, then you are the Israelite. The Torah is commanded to you. Now your wife may or may not be from an Israelite background. Maybe she's from a Gentile background. Maybe she's from a biological background. Either way, your Torah is sufficient to cover your wife. Your wife don't have to separately do everything to be covered, because you do that covering. Daniel is saying that I'm a witness to that story because Rabbi Benaya shared that story with me to give me perspective. So thank you for that, Daniel, because I know Daniel was with Rabbi Benaya a little while. He stayed with him as well in Texas. So my point is that your wife is not the beating ground where you can beat her up and somehow claim holiness. Now, to answer the question, why does Rabbi Kefa allow his wife to eat shrimp? Look, I know that Rabbi, before his wife came to America, I said to Rabbi Kefa, I found Rabbi Kefa one day, and I said to Rabbi Kefa, be compassionate with your wife. Don't try to enforce the stick, and don't try to force her into things that she's not comfortable with. Because, this woman is foreign. She's coming from a foreign land. She's leaving her country, her home, her family, people that she knows, and she's coming to a totally foreign place. And you need to give her time, room to adjust and make, choices for herself. So Rabbi Kefa, being the gentleman that he is, he allowed that room, that time, because somebody who has been eating unclean food. Now remember, unclean food doesn't kill you. Don't think, oh, unclean food is going to kill me straight away. No, it might kill you slowly, but it's not going to kill you in one go. But the point is that you can kill somebody with the tongue. You can tell somebody not to do something and you kill them already. Unclean food might let them live for another 50 years. So try not to be killing people with your tongue. Because Rabbi Kefa was compassionate on his wife, and Rabbi Kefa said to his wife, look honey, if you want to eat shrimps, if you want to make pork, then there are utensils over there in my house. You use those and you separate those utensils, because I can make my permissible food in my separate utensils, or you can make them for me, and vice versa. So we don't mix them up. That way, I'm not forcing you to change your diet that you adapted for 41 years of your life and switch suddenly to my diet in one day, like Flash Gordon. That's why Rabbi Kefa allowed his wife to consume her food. And that was the right thing to do, because you do not force your living habits on other people. And if Rabbi Kefa had forced his wife to eat kosher, permissible food, I'm pretty sure she'll be heading for the divorce court. And she probably would left for China long before the coronavirus ever came about. And whether she left, whether she was alive or dead over there, she would have gone back. Why? Because you try to force Torah on somebody who's not happy about it. So, in other words, Rabbi Kefa was happy to have peace in his house and to allow understanding to prevail over time. Now, if that means that it takes 10 years, and I'm just saying 10 years as a number, it doesn't have to be 10, it could be less, it could be more. If it takes 10 years for Rabbi Kefa's wife to learn that she, maybe at some point it'd be nice for her not to consume pork because it can kill her over time. Because, pork has all sorts of, as you know, issues with it. But if she learns by her own means, and she sees Rabbi Kefa doing things differently, and maybe over time she will see that and she will change. But there is no commandment in the Torah that says to me or to you to force your wife to do something different to what she is accustomed to. Okay? It doesn't say that. Now, there is a story in the Torah that talks about, in the book of, in the first 5 books is a story about a woman captive who is brought from captivity or brought into captivity. In other words, in the situation of war, you bring a woman and she lost her father, maybe her husband died, maybe she was married. It doesn't say to those words, but it does imply that the woman might have been single, or might have been married, or might have been young, and her father died in battle, her brother died in battle, and maybe it was one of the Israelites that killed them. And then the Israelites said, I'm going to take this woman for booty. I'm taking her for my treasure, and I want to marry her. The Torah is very particular to tell you that allow her time to mourn for her losses. Let her trim her nails, let her cut her hair, allow her time. What does that mean, allow her time? It means that give her plenty of time to accomplish, to be part of your family, but don't force it on her. That's what the Torah is already telling you. And Rabbi Kefa is saying that I noted that allowing them to eat their pork and shrimp, they very seldom eat it. They eat it less now than they did when they were in China. Of course, because they're going to learn. Over time, they're going to adapt to it. Listen, there is no, don't take this for negative on American women or British women or other women. I'm not saying this as a negative. Women are same world over. Women are brought up in different cultures, in different environments, in China and all that. I can tell you this much, that if Rabbi Kefa's wife was in China, and she was with a family, and the family, a different family, maybe uncle's family, and she was invited to an uncle's family, and the uncle family presented pork. And if this lady, Kefa's wife, refused it and said, sorry, I'm not going to eat this, you know what would happen over there? They would be very insulted, and they will not want to see that woman again. So that's the kind of scenario that she has to live under. And so therefore, you people who live in America in your little bubble, you don't know that what kind of problems people face outside of America. You just simply blurt out, and like, oh, why can't you do this? No, it's not like that. It's not simple like that. People have to adapt. People are answerable to other people. You can't just turn up in your uncle's house and say, I'm not going to eat your food because you're eating unclean. What the heck he knows about unclean? He don't even know what that means, unclean. What do you mean it's unclean? This is clean food, I prepared it, I washed it, and blah, 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 And he'd be like, what are you talking about, little girl? Because to her, the niece is a little girl. So my point is this, that before you make your stupid comments, and I'm going to say stupid, keep your stupid comments to yourself, because I will remove them from YouTube. You know why? Because you don't even know the complexities of human life. You don't know how people live in China. You don't know how people live in India and Pakistan. Yet you come over here, gung-ho, I know everything and I know what to do. And you make your stupid little comments like you're the king of the earth, and you're not the king of the earth. And you don't know nothing about China. You know nothing about India or Pakistan. I was in Pakistan with the wife over there, and I didn't say to my wife, hey, I'm doing the Sabbath now, you got to do the Sabbath as well. I didn't say nothing to her, because she's brought up in a Catholic culture, and you know what Catholics do. You all know what Catholics do, and I don't need to tell you that. So what would I do? Do you think it would be nice for me to say to her, you're no longer to be a part of any Catholic people. You no longer call your Catholic relatives your relatives. How would that stand out, by the way, if I did that? And I said nothing. When the Catholic relatives came, which have now become my relatives, what do you think I'm going to do for them? Welcome them in my home, sit them down, offer them tea, offer them dinner, right? And then they would see my house, they look at my room and they say, wow, what does that over there plaque mean? And what does this thing over here mean? Because I had plaques in my house. Yahweh's name, 72 names, 42 names, you name it, they're in my house over there. And so these people ask the question, what do you put that over there for, and what does it mean, and what is that language? So I tell them, I have an opportunity to tell them, this actually language that you're looking at is the ancient language of Hebrew, that the Bible you read was originally written in this language. And this is what it says. These are the 72 names of God, or these are the 42 names of God, or this is a plate that has the 10 commandments engraved on it. And they're like, wow, can you give us one of these plates as well? The Catholic family is asking me to give them a plate as well, because they want to put it in their home. Now, my point is that I don't have to force Torah down anybody's throat. If somebody comes to me and asks me, why don't you go out on Saturday to shop like we do? And I tell them why. But I don't go around with posters like Christians, oh, we're going to have a meeting on Sunday and we got this crusade at 10:30 and please come. I don't do that. I've never done that, and I'm not going to do that by knocking on people's doors and say, come to my meeting and it's going to start at 11 o'clock. I don't do that, because if you want to be part of Israel, B'nai Israel, the children of Israel, you got to come to us. I don't have to go to you. That is what I keep telling everybody. And you all know that. I have never told you to print leaflets and go knocking on doors and putting leaflets to people's mailboxes. I have never told you, and I never will, because there's no need for that. Those people who want to be part of the children of Israel, they can come and they can learn and they can take. Or they can leave it outside. And yeah, Rabbi Kefa, we went to Africa, our own money, our own time, thousands of dollars spent, and what did we learn? That you cannot bring people in by force. And we didn't use force. We went over there willingly, and they invited us to their churches, and yet they rejected the message of the Torah. And I was happy to leave. I was happy to leave Africa. And by the way, Ebola and all that happened afterwards. So my point is this, that the world at large, it's always criticized the Jew. It's always criticized Jews for washing their hands and for doing things differently to everybody else. But look at today, our own president yesterday was telling the whole of America, wash your hands. Now, by the way, that comes from the Torah, by the way. If you didn't know, it's right in this parsha that you're going to read today. RSAHK Ki Tissa talks about washing your hands, because in the parsha, it speaks about Moses and says to Moses, wash and clean Aaron's and his son's hands and feet as well. And from that, the Jewish people learned that we have to wake up in the morning and with our little two-handle jug, we have to wash our hands every morning. The Jews learned that, by the way, from that. And they do that every day. Now, some of you might laugh at this and say, oh, idiots, they're having a jug with two handles, stupid people. Some of you will be making those comments, but guess what? Guess who's got the coronavirus? The ones who are making the stupid comments have got the coronavirus today. Because where did it come out of? China, not out of Israel. So the nation that God has placed on this planet is Israel to bless you. So learn that lesson. Wash your hands. Because that's what the president said, and that's now what every country's president is saying. There was a little ad in Spanish that somebody sent me this little video, and this little ad in the video is saying to people in Spanish in Brazil that when you sneeze, put a tissue in front of your mouth. And when you go to the washroom, to the restroom as you call it over here, or the bathroom, or the toilet as you call it in England, wash your hands. Now think about it. Yesterday, all of these Gentiles were telling us, well, stupid Jews, they're always washing their hands. And stupid Muslims, they're always washing their hands. Because the stupid Muslims got it from the stupid Jews. So therefore they wash their hands. And today, Muslim countries and Jewish countries have the least amount of infection. Go eat your cake and see it for yourself. Kazakhstan is a Muslim nation next to Afghanistan. It has 0 cases of coronavirus. Muslim nation, by the way. And Jewish nation, the Jewish nation, Israel, has the infections coming from outside. In other words, some tourist Christian man brings it in and infects the people. They do not have it in their country otherwise. So, the stupid Muslims and the stupid Jews, they turn out to be the smart people. And the so-called smart people turn out to be stupid instead. Because they make fun of us. And now today they're telling everybody that, oh, please go wash your hands. And you all know the story of the plague in England, when the Jews were washing their hands for thousands of years, and the British people were falling dead like rats, they were falling all over the place, and they were criticizing the Jewish people, and then they realized that the Jewish people wash their hands and they're getting less plague. And our people are getting more plague. What's going on? So they realized that actually washing your hand is a good thing. Back then they realized that as well. So today, my instructions to you as a stupid Jew is this, that make sure that you have silver water in your house. And a lot of people don't know what the heck is silver water. Silver water is simply colloidal silver. You can buy it in YouTube, you can buy it from eBay, you can buy it at Amazon, and YouTube has many videos showing you how to make it. All you do is take 2 silver wires, and you can even use batteries. You can connect those silver wires with just simple batteries, and you can put it in water, and you can, allow the silver to come off a little bit. And there are machines that sell for about $45 upwards, and you can make silver in your house. Now, get those machines if you don't have it. At about $45 investment, the silver water will stop 600 diseases dead in its track, by the way, including corona. So take it from me. Get silver water for yourselves if you want to protect your families. And then, of course, if you're a stupid Jew, then you'll be washing your hands. So keep on doing the stupid thing, because that will save your life and many other people's life. Continue to do that. So other than that, I would say that, it's a commandment in our Torah. And yes, it was given to the Kohanim. You might say that Moses was told to wash Aaron's hands. In other words, the priesthood. Why should I adapt that? Because maybe you're not part of the priesthood. Maybe you're from the tribe of Judah or tribe of Benjamin or some other tribes. And you can have a valid point. But we, as a historical people, everybody washed their hands and feet. Because before we entered a synagogue, before we sat down to read the Torah, we all washed our hands and feet as a practice. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, you're going to go to hell if you don't, or you're going to go be obliterated. I'm just saying it's a good practice. So, keep up the good practice. If you're doing it, great. If you're not doing it, something to think about. So that's that, so that's the bottom line is this, we're talking about lives now. We're not talking about just your life. if you have it, you can pass it on to other people. So self-isolate, self-quarantine, you know the drill, you know. I don't need to teach you that drill. And Rabbi Kefa saying that Jesus did it to his students. Oh, absolutely, he washed their hands and feet. And then they washed his hands and feet, kind of thing, too. So my point is this, that Jesus was showing something not new, but something that was ancient. And Christians make it sound like, oh, you know, we've got to do it at the Passover only, and every, all other time they don't do it. This is not just a Passover thing, by the way. This is something that you should be accustomed to. And I know it might be a little comfortable because you have to raise your foot up and put it in the, I don't know, in the, in the sink or something, and it's hard for some of you. And then you can stand in the bath. Stand in your bath, in your shower, and do it there if you have to. So I'm not saying that this is something you must do. I'm just saying that good practice, good hygiene will help you instead of tissue paper. You see, all America over here, they're all worried about tissue paper and hand sanitizer. And by the way, I was carrying about 2 or 3 bottles of hand sanitizer when I went to Pakistan, and I just gave them out to other people. I didn't even use any. So I come over here and I find out that people are fighting over hand sanitizer. And I was like, my goodness, what is the world coming to? All you got to do is wash yourself with soap and water. Exactly, Rabbi Kefa, wash yourself with soap and water. What are you worried about hand sanitizers? Well, yeah, if you're traveling, like I traveled, if you're traveling, then maybe you carry it with you. You get these travel size bottles from Walmart. But I'm saying that it's not the end of the world. There is soap and water in every country. So just use soap and water, that's fine. So my point is this, that, don't be like the rest of the people. Oh, I haven't got tissue paper, it's the end of the world. Just because you can't wash your butt, you have to clean it with toilet paper. So learn to maybe wash your butt instead. Because that's what doctors in America, by the way, sensible doctors, that's what they're teaching their patients. They're saying to them that put a little bidet in your toilet so you can wash your butt, because that might be better, because you might abrase, using the tissue paper, you might abrase your butt and get hemorrhoids. By the way, doctors are teaching that in America as well, privately. So again, right, this is not a commandment that you got to have a bidet, but I'm just saying that we people, the Jews, again the stupid people, always wash their butt, and the Muslims learned the same, and the Muslims wash their butt too. Again, okay, stupid plus stupid equals smart, so they are still alive. So do the right thing for yourselves. I don't need to tell you what to do. So my point is this, that we have the Torah, and the Torah tells us how best to live. The Torah doesn't force itself upon us, but the Torah simply tells us how best to live. Now, you can adapt the Torah to yourself, and you can say, you know what, I'm going to follow the Torah, and that's absolutely fine. And if you are somebody who are not from biologically Israel, or maybe you joined Israel, you're not biological, doesn't matter, because if you were Gentile and you joined us, you'll be given the same treatment, you'll be treated the same way. But if you are one of those people, who would rather not do it, then that's okay, because I'm not here to put you in chains and say you have to do it. So now also with this particular virus, from what I've read, is that at temperatures of 26 and above, this virus can no longer survive. So if you are living in a hot country, then chances are that if your temperatures are 27 and beyond, you are not going to contract the virus anyway, because it's going to die outside. So yesterday I was having a chat with one of my friends, and I wanted to give you a little private conversation I had with him. He's in Pakistan, he's a professor, he's retired, and he said to me, you know what, people should not kiss their wives. And I said to the professor, Professor, are you telling me that husbands should not kiss their wives? He said, yeah, because it's wrong to kiss the wife. I said, why is that? He said, because look, you're passing on your germs to her, and you're taking her germs on as well. I said, you make a good point, but I said, the problem is this, that husbands been kissing their wives for, millennia, for thousands of years, and that's not going to change with coronavirus either. I said, husband's going to continue to kiss their wife, and wife's going to continue to kiss their husband. Not going to change what you say or what I say. So I said, at the end of the day, I may not agree with your perspective, because I said, when you take on a wife, The two germs become one germ, yeah. I said, when you take a wife, what do you say? I said, you say that in sickness and in health, the twin, we will never be separated and we'll go through ups and downs together. I said, when you take those oaths, that means you can kiss each other as well and carry each other's germs. So he laughed, right? He goes, but I said that to my friends over there in Karachi, where he is. He goes, I said that to my friends, that you should not be kissing your wives because, you're passing on your germs to them and taking their germs on. So I said, well, that's actually a little bit a hard view. It's a hard knock to follow. And I said, I personally wouldn't say that. And I personally wouldn't advise it either. But I do get your point. I do hear you. And I hear your opinion. And I do appreciate that you're giving this advice. But I said that, unfortunately, I don't think that we would be very happy after that. So he's like, but you shouldn't be doing it. And I said, well, let's just leave this subject and let's just move on to the stock market or something else. So, we moved on from that subject. So my point is this, right? Everybody has an opinion, and that's fine. That's okay. Everybody can have an opinion for their life and things around them. But my point is this, that a Torah is not some kind of a tool to, inflict people with stripes, like 40 stripes of the Torah. Torah is not that tool. Torah is a way of life. And when we say a Jew, we're not talking about a Jew as in some, culture or some people that are living differently. A Jew is simply a designation that means that somebody who serves God and somebody who possibly, I say possibly, I'm not going to say definitely, because not all Jews follow Torah. You know that better than me. So a Jew is supposed to follow Torah, but not all Jews do. We have the Bernie Sanders of this world following communism as well and Marxism. So I'm not going to say every Jew follows Torah. That would be the wrong statement. But it's nice if you can, take the commandments to heart and apply them, because I can tell you that if you have taken the commandments and applied them to yourself, you come out a better person than where you were before. Now the Torah is all about life and preservation of life. If you really got the Torah speaks about preservation of life. And today, every country and every prime minister and every president is trying to preserve their people. Now, isn't that what the Torah is supposed to be doing? And yes, the Torah is supposed to be doing that for the people of Israel. We have survived for millennia, many millennia, under oppression, under depression, under hardship, goodship, and we've still survived as a people. And we will continue to survive as a people. We will not be wiped off the face of the earth. I don't care what virus hits this planet and what asteroid passes through us. We will still survive as a people. Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. Because Yahweh is faithful and Yahweh is merciful. And Yahweh will never let His people down. So don't ever think that you're alone, because you're not. God is always there for you and on your side. But you have to do the right thing. So with that, let's look at this Torah portion in which we are told that you have to take, this particular Pasha tells us to take half a shekel of silver to the sanctuary, and it says that make a basin of water in the sanctuary with anointing oil and incense. It says water, basin, anointing oil and incense. And it says that God has chosen the wise-hearted people like the artisans, Bezalel and Aholiab, is placed them in charge to construct certain things, and also He tells us particularly to keep the Sabbath holy, keep this commandment. But when Moses is gone up on the mountain and doesn't return for 40 days, he comes down and he finds out that Aaron and the rest have made a golden calf, and they are worshipping a golden calf because they think Moses is dead. Because they think Moses is dead, so they make a golden calf because they want to have something physical that they can worship. Now, of course, Moses comes down, he's very angry, he breaks the tablets, he then has to go back up and get the second set of tablets, which are then inscribed again with the Ten Commandments. By the way, Just to clarify the point, Moses did not bring the whole Torah down. Let this point be heard very clearly. Moses only brought the tablets of stones that he could carry under his armpit, by the way. They were that small. Or in his hand. He could carry these small tables of stones in his hands, and they only had the 10 Commandments. Only the 10 Commandments. That's what Moses brought down. So what is the covenant? The covenant is the 10 Commandments. So when somebody tells you Moses brought the whole Torah down, that's a false statement. He did not bring the whole Torah down. In fact, he came down and wrote the history of the people of Israel, which today is known as the Torah. The Torah is the 10 Commandments for practical purposes. If you follow the 10 Commandments to the letter, you follow Torah. And so this is why I want to say this, that the groups like the Seventh-day Adventists, if they follow the 10 Commandments to the letter, they would be following the Torah. Only problem is they do not follow it to the letter. They mix it with Christmas, Easter, and other things, and other traditions. So therefore, they are mixing Torah with other stuff. Because the 10 Commandments are very particular. And we were told in no uncertain terms to inscribe them on our gates. This is the reason why when I went to Pakistan, I made sure that I had the inscriptions done on a metal plate that we could put on our doors in our homes. That's why we did that. Because that is the commandment. The commandment doesn't say, put a little mezuzah up on your door. The little mezuzah that you put up on your door is a tradition, not a commandment. The commandment was always the 10 Commandments. That is the commandment. And that you read about in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 6. That Deuteronomy chapter 6 is where you read about inscribing your doors with the 10 Commandments. And so we saw it fitting that if we have the 10 Commandments engraved on a plate, because my goodness, where am I going to go find a artisan to engrave the 10 Commandments on my PVC door in America or PVC door in England? I don't think that one exists, right? There is no artisan in the Gentile world who will come and inscribe the 10 Commandments on my PVC door so they look perfect. But we can put up a plate, right? So we went the next best thing. Why not have it in Hebrew and in English and put it up on your door? If your country is hostile to the 10 Commandments, put it on the inside of your door so nobody sees it. And if it's not hostile, put it on the outside. But put it on because you have been commanded to do. That's what we have been commanded to do. Now, of course, sensibilities, in other words, save your life. Don't put it outside and Hitler's there to come and grab you and take you and burn you up. You know, if that's your situation, then don't do it on the outside of your door. Do it on the inside of your door. Because you may still have the Hitlers today who want to kill Jews, you know, and put them into furnaces. But I'm just saying, by the by, if your country is not hostile, then yes, put them on the outside of the door. And I did. And I will. And I have. Because in Pakistan, when I put the 10 Commandments up, you know what the Muslims said? Give us the plate as well. We want to put it in our home. Think about that for a second. I didn't take my religion to them. I didn't take my faith to them. I didn't say you have to do this. They came to me and said, we want to have this plate as well. Because we love the 10 Commandments too. So, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now whether they keep it or not, that's a separate matter. But the fact that they allow me to put it up and they want my plate in their home, I think that speaks volumes. Don't you? That is enough. So, 10 Commandments, you know, speaks about the Sabbath. It speaks about God's name. As you know, a lot of people argue today, a lot of people are arguing about God's name. I don't see an argument. Some people are telling you that it has to be Yehovah. Some are telling you, no, it's Jehovah, because that's what my King James Bible says. And some are saying that it's going to be Yahweh, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, or Yahweh, or, you know, any of those kind of transliterations of the Hebrew. I am telling you that none of that matters. As long as you know God's name, And as long as you know it's 4 characters, the Yod, the He, the Wa, and the He. As long as you know that, and whatever your tongue pronunciation is, if your tongue pronounces it as Yahweh or Yahweh or Yahweh, it's fine. Because either of those cases, God's not going to kill you, and God will still bless you. So don't go out to listen to these people, these arguments about you have to say it in a particular way. That, by the way, is not coming out of the Torah. That's coming out of people's opinions and their own desires. So I don't teach it that way, and I've never have and I never will, because there's no such need for such things as that. Now, of course, we had Purim just a few days ago, Baruch Hashem, if you celebrated Purim. If not, no problem. We also have Passover coming up. And a lot of you know that some of you, like me, you'd rather keep the Passover through the solar calendar, which is the Enoch calendar. April 3rd is a Passover every year. Some of you, like me, will say, you know what, I'd stick to the April 3rd. And then others of you might say, I'm going to do the Jewish lunar calendar, the moon calendar, and I'm going to do it on the 19th of April or whenever it's supposed to be. By the way, some groups have already done it on the 10th of, they're already doing Passover now, 10th of March onwards. So, whatever you follow, barley, crescent moon, whatever format you follow, as long as you do the Passover, and you have a date, that is great. And I'm not going to criticize you whether you do it March 10, April 3, or April 19. You're not going to hear no criticism from me about it. Because at least you're trying to honor God. The very least you're trying to honor God, and you're trying to do the right thing. And that's great. And that's where we need to be. And I think that's a great place to be. And so having said that, then on top of that, I think, let me see, the other thing that I would like to speak about is the Parsha speaks about the golden calf, of course. I'm not going to say that Aaron did something right, and Aaron was my forefather. He did something that clearly was not right, and he gave into the pressures of the people, because Aaron said, people came up and said to me, produce for us gods, and I took the gourd and I threw it all into the fire, and it formulated into a calf. Okay, so Aaron gave that example, and of course Aaron was right that Aaron was forced to do that. He didn't do it out of compulsion. He wasn't doing it because he wanted to. So Aaron was right as well. And yes, he as a person made mistakes too. But he was a high priest, and God forgave them. And Moses said, you have to eat this, he basically, he melted this calf, he made it into a powder, and he made the people of Israel, drink it with water, etc. All of that. But the thing that they did, it affected them for a long, long time. And maybe it still does to some effect. So, having said that, why give the half shekel? Because, let me give you something of interest on the half shekel, but let me have a drink of water first. The half a shekel story. Half a shekel, by the way, half and 2 halves make 1 shekel. 2 halves make 1 shekel, right? What does the half shekel actually illustrate? Because it was given for the redemption ceremony, right? There was no temple at the time. This argument about temple, no temple, why should I give it and all that, it's nonsensical, because there was no temple at that time. It was simply a tent, and you had to give it. And when you gave it, it was seen as, it was basically seen as you obeying God. Simple. It was just a test of obedience. But why give half a shekel? Why not give full shekel? Because you are to have a leader in your life. That's why. Now, just as a wife, a spouse, has a leader in her home, a husband, and a man's not complete without his wife, same way, you as a people are not complete without your leaders. If I am your leader, and if I am your guru, and if I am your guide, then you need me in your life for a blessing. And take that from me. And I'm not saying it out of jest and out of malice or out of hatred for somebody. Without me, you're not going to get there. because I act as a pillar basically to guide you. And that's basically why half a shekel. Because two halves make one. Who's the other half? The other half is the Kohen. That's the other half, by the way. Because you were giving that shekel to the Kohen, not to some rabbi in a church or some rabbi or some pastor in a church. You are supposed to give that half a shekel to the Kohanim. Why? Because the Kohanim are your leaders. They are the ones who stood for you for redemption. When you committed something wrong, they stood before God and said, save these people. It was the Kohanim's job. They were technically your messiahs. Technically. So I as a person today stand between you and God. Because if you have a problem, I stand up and say, redeem my people. I say for the person in question, help these people. And you might say, well, what the heck? Rabbi Simon, how can you be standing up? Who are you? Why can't I do it myself? Why do I have to go to you? Because God placed me here for that reason. Whether you believe it or not, God placed me here. And my testimony to date is that anybody that came to me and seek a blessing from God, they received it. Yet they never received it by themselves. That's a testimony, by the way. When I put my feet in somebody's home, and I can prove it to you time and time again, and I did it in Pakistan, those people's homes are blessed, the ones I went to. A poor family, a little boy from a poor family, he would come to me every day, and his mother was going for cleaning jobs in other people's homes. And she would come sometimes and clean in our home as well. The Aisha over there employed her and said, can you please come and give a hand with the washing and other things? And she would come, and her son will come with her. And he would come and sit with me. He would come and sit with me, and if his mother's in the area, he would come and sit with me. And he would say, he would say that, they would say to him, other people would say to him, why do you sit with that man over there, Simon? He'll say, I really like Simon. I like sitting with him because he tells me nice things. And I learn from him. So, I would tell this young man, he was about 12 years old, I would tell him that you can do great things for yourself. Don't let people tell you otherwise. And he was, he couldn't go to school because he didn't have the money. And I said, don't worry about school either. Because if you put your mind to it, if you want to be someplace, you can be. Doesn't mean you have to be in school. I said, look, a lot of people before you did the same. They didn't all go to get high-level degrees. I said, Bill Gates did it. He didn't complete his degree. I said, there were other people who fell out of college. They did it. They became billionaires. So I said, there is absolutely no reason why you can't make it. I said, yes, you should go to school. Try to go to school so you can know basic maths, English, and things like that. But if you're telling me that you don't have the money to do it, you can still be very successful. And I said, this is how you do it. So I used to teach him. And this kid loved me. And one day he said to me, he goes to me, Uncle, you must come to my house. You must come to meet me to my house. I said, I'll come to your house. So I went to his house. One day, 9 o'clock in the evening, I went to search for his house. I wasn't sure exactly where it is. So I went and made inquiries in the street, whereabouts this boy lives. So the neighbors told me, oh, the house over there, that's where his family lives. So I went to his house. His dad was there, his mother was there, his sister, and so on and so forth. So I visited his house. He was so happy to see me there. And he said, oh, you kept your word. I said, yep, I always keep my word. I came here because you asked me to come here. And he was so happy, My point is this, that we can help so many people. And I have, the houses I placed my foot under, those houses are blessed today. I had a woman come to me in Pakistan from a family. I was with a family at the time, and she came to me with her little daughter, about, 3-4 years old. And she said to me, my daughter is sick, and she hasn't, she's been going to the doctor for 3 days, eating medicine, and she said her stomach pain won't go away. Can you please help? I said, yes. I took her, I took my hand, and I just raised my hand, and I said, your daughter is healed. She will be well. Take your daughter home, and she's going to be healed. And she took her. And she came back 3 hours later. And you know what she said? My daughter is completely healed. Thank God for that. And she brought me a piece of food. She said to me, she called me pastor. She said, Pastor, I brought this food for you because you healed my daughter. Now tell me how I can bless my family. So I told her what to do to bless her family. So what is my point of being here? My testimony, my real life testimony indicates that I can put my feet in anybody's house and bless their home and change the course of their lives. And I have changed the course of many people's lives today. But those people that slandered me and left me, you know where they are today. Either they are dead 6 foot under, or they are struggling to make ends meet. That's basically the other side of the coin, by the way, because I keep saying this, and I said this to somebody. I said a Kohen's blessing is one thing, but never ever take a Kohen's curse in your life, because a Kohen's curse is worse than a blessing. So never let a Kohen put him in a position to curse you, because it's worse. Because there was a time that God told us to climb a mountain and curse the people if they don't obey. And we know what happened after that. So I don't speak from maybe and maybes. I speak from real life. Yes, we are a blessing to the people. We are a blessing to our people. We are a blessing to our nation. We are a blessing to the world. We are a blessing to the whole world. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. And you all are a blessing to the whole world. If you are part of the children of Israel, if you are part of the house of Israel, you are a blessing to the whole world, not just to your families. You will bless every family you attend. Every family you attend, you will bless. So the part of the half coin and the other half is where you meet with your teacher, and your teacher, basically your teacher, your leader, is going to be the one standing for your blessings. Look, let me give you an example. Real life example. If you remember Apple's owner, he is no longer alive, but he created the Apple firm, Steve Jobs basically. Before he created Apple, by the way, he had a guru. Did you know that? He went to India, to Yoganand. And some of you might know this. He went to Yoganand, and Yoganand taught him the principles of life, and how to imagine, and how to do things. And then he went on to create one of the best firms in the world, the best telephone, one of the best phones in the world, one of the best laptops in the world. He went on to do that, by the way. And you know what he did? When he came back and he started to establish himself, and he was from a broken home. He had a Lebanese father, by the way, who never probably saw him when he was young. He left him. He left his mother. This man came from a broken home, who went on to become a billionaire and change the face of the world. And the same way, he met with the owner and the maker of Facebook. You know, the owner and the maker of Facebook, he went to Steve Jobs for advice before he started his Facebook. He went to Steve Jobs and he said to him, what should I do, because I'm about to embark on business? And you know what Steve Jobs told him? Go and meet with my guru. Go to India, spend 3 to 6 months with my guru, and he will set you straight. So he also went to India. Mark Zuckerberg. He also went to India, and he spent time with Yoganand, was alive at that time, by the way. And he spent time with Yoganand. And Yoganand, I don't think he's alive today. He died. But Yoganand followed the teachings. Listen to this. Yoganand followed the teachings of Jesus, of all people. And Yoganand was teaching Mark Zuckerberg what to do to be successful. And Mark Zuckerberg today has many $1 billion of worth, thanks to Yoganand and thanks to Steve Jobs, because he put him on the right track. So my point is this: a guru, a leader are essential in your life. They're not maybe I should have it, they're essential. And whose teaching are they following? Let's look at whose teaching are they following. Jesus of Nazareth. Think about it for a second. So when you follow the Kohanim, where do you think you're going to be? And Baruch Hashem Yahweh, I can tell you that I believe that we have a witness and a testimony that I'm not going to name names, but we have a person in the room that manifested a house and a car in a week. Baruch Hashem Yahweh for that. I'm very happy for my student. And I have spoken to her numerous times, and she is now successfully manifested a house and a car, and she is going to manifest many other things. Great blessings lie ahead because of her following the instructions of the Kohen in the gate. So choose life. That means choose your Kohen carefully. Don't choose death. What is death? Outside, other people, other opinions. Don't choose death for yourself. Life. We are here to give life to the people, nourishment, blessings. Now, I can tell you that last night I was having a chat with another student, and she is in Manila right now, and I was having a chat with her, and I was asking her, now she has been doing this for 1.5 years, approximate 1.5 years. She has been writing her script, and she has been doing her visualization, but nothing came to pass. So I asked the question, what have you been doing? So, she had to fumble around a little bit, and I said, look, read me a statement, read me an affirmation that you've written down. How have you written it down? Clearly, you're doing something wrong. If it hasn't occurred for 1.5 years, you're not doing something right. I can guarantee you that. And she said, okay, let me find it. So she eventually found her little notebook, and she was able to read out the statement, and it was totally wrong worded. Worded totally wrong. So I told her, I said, you have worded it wrong. You can, and she was writing it 30 times a day. 30 times a day, think about it. And it didn't work. So I told her, I said, the reason why this has not worked is because you have worded it wrong. It will never work. You could be doing this for the next 30 years and it won't work. And you'll be an old woman and you'll be wondering what the heck's going on. Why is this not working for me? Because it didn't follow instructions. I said, how many times I have said that you visualize from the end? And I said, what was your visualization? Her visualization wasn't from the end either. She was somewhere in the middle. And I said, that will never work. So I sat there 1 o'clock at night in Ohio. I was speaking to her. It was her morning time. And I told her the method again. And this time I reiterated the method. And I told her that, do you have the meditation video or the audio that I made? She said, I don't have that. I said, do you have the midbrain meditation? She said, no. So do you have the 7 chakra? No. So I said, why don't you have them? Oh, because I thought you were busy and I didn't, ask for it. I said, I don't care if I'm busy or not busy. You should write to me and ask. I can only give you something if you ask. I can't give it to you if you don't ask. She said, I thought you were busy. I said, it doesn't matter. Does not matter if I'm busy or not. You just write me, pop me an email and say to me, Kohen, I need this audio. And I'll send it to you immediately. If I'm not able to do it straight away, I'll do it maybe the next day, but I will send it to you. I never let people's emails just sit there in my email box without a response. Unless, I'm out of the country or something, or in travels, maybe for a day or 2 days. There's been nothing in my history where I've not answered an email. So I said, no, you should have asked. So she said, okay, next time I will ask. So I sent her last night the 7 chakra meditation and the midbrain meditation. Very, very important. Method is 100% key to your success. If you don't follow the method, success will elude you. And that's not my fault. It could be that you're not writing it correctly. It could be that you're not saying it correctly and doing it correctly. So you have to follow the method. The method, if you're not sure, as I said many times before, if you're not sure, write. And if I'm able to phone you from America, I will phone you. If I'm able to write to you, I'll write to you. People who live in England, I can just phone them from here. People who live in America, I can phone them. And I can tell them what to do. So you need to ask. When you ask me that I'm trying to achieve such and such, and this is the way I've written it. Is this correct, Rabbi? Then I can tell you, yes, it's correct, or no, it's not going to work for you. You must, send me a sample, make it easy for me. Don't just say, oh, I want a car, and, how do I do it? Just say to me that I want a car, and I've written this, and is this method correct? Then I can say to you, yes, this is correct, or no, this is not going to work. Why are you wasting your precious time, months and months and months, and you're not getting it? And this was a little bit sad for me, because she spent months on it. In fact, a year and a half, 18 months, and didn't get there. She told me, she said, I didn't get there. I said, no, don't tell me you didn't get there. You didn't get there because you didn't follow instruction. I said, how many audios have I put out on YouTube? How many times I've said it? You need to go listen. I said, did you listen to them? Oh, no, I didn't listen to them. I didn't have time. Well, I said, if you didn't have time, then I guess, it's not that important then, if you didn't have time. So this is the problem. The problem is this, that you need to make time for your personal life. I'm not putting my teachings out there for a feel-good factor. They are going to change your life. And if you want to change your life, you've got to make some time to listen to it. And if you follow it, I guarantee it that you will get what you desire. But you must follow it. I just implore you to follow the method. And I can help you in many different ways. But I can only help you if you ask me. If you don't ask me, I won't be able to help you. Because, I'm not going to sit here with my golden bowl and say, show me who's having problems so I can help them. And put their number on the top as well. Like, this green goddess or these different women that do this little, this little globe. They show them sometimes on the TV. Ring this number and get your psychic reading. So, I don't claim to be a psychic. So, I don't do that, by the way. I will show you succinctly how to pray. And by the way, pray is another word for imagination. Let me correct you all on this today. Whenever you read the word pray in the Bible, it's another word for imagination. Let's get that right. So, next time you read the Bible, read imagination, not pray. So, having said that, there are other things that I can say that are part of this particular passage, this particular parsha. Then it speaks about us having to keep the Sabbath. Let's put the hands washing to one side and the feet washing. Maybe some of you don't like to do that, and that's understandable. But our good book speaks about it. In Exodus, speaks about in verses 30-19, we do have an instance where Moses was commanded to do something, and I'm going to have to go back on that, Exodus 30:19, I believe. And for Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet in water from out of it. Or in verse 18, you shall also make a laver of bronze with its base also of bronze for washing. You shall put it between the tent of the appointed times and the altar, and you shall put water in it. For Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet. Now, by the way, it was given to Aaron and his sons, in other words, to the priesthood, to us only. But the whole of Israel adopted it. They all do it. But really, the way it carried forward, they used their little two-part jug, with the two handles, and they use that. And I'm not saying you have to have a two-handle jug. You can just do it with a single handle. But as long as you wash your hands in the morning, that's great. It's a good job. Job well done. And most of you shower in the morning, so you automatically, if you shower in the morning, you don't have to separately wash your hands because you already washed your hands and feet if you're showering. So, and Rabbi Kefa, Jesus was not a priest, but he did it too. So it was a custom that everybody did it as a custom. But really the commandment went down to the priesthood. And then you had the perfume, this special perfume that only was meant to be produced by the priest. It had certain ingredients. And one of the ingredients, by the way, is debated heavily today because it happened to be it happened to be this, what's that substance that people use for drugs today? Basically, that was the ingredient. I'm trying to think of the name. Marijuana, cannabis. Yeah, one of the ingredients, by the way, was cannabis. And people use it for substance abuse. So, but that, by the way, that was one of the ingredients. And a lot of people debate it today, but we don't need to speak about it, but that was one of the ingredients. And today, you know, you're not technically supposed to make it, but if you go to Israel, everybody's selling it. Oh, this, you know, anointing oil. And you find it on all the websites as well, you know, so-called Jewish websites and whatever other websites. So everybody's making it and selling it. And so therefore, Rabbi Kefa saying that marijuana, Jamaicans love to talk about it too. So having said that, everybody is trying to sell this anointing oil that you're not supposed to make. Okay, so I'm not saying it's a sin to buy it, but by the way, a lot of people claim that this is the same kind of, you know, and then they say, oh no, it's not exactly the same, it's a little bit fake, because it doesn't have exactly the same things. So, but anyway, if you do use that oil or not, that was only given to the priest to make, by the way, not for everybody. And then, you know, we have the Shabbat. The Shabbat, you know, in Exodus 31:16, if I can go there, it said to the effect of, let's go there. Therefore the children of Israel shall guard the Sabbath, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant. So to us, to the house of Israel, this is given as a covenant, by the way. So we have to do it as a covenant, not as some kind of church, you know, tradition. It's not a tradition for us. It's a commandment. And it's something we do. Something we love and we do it. And we may not agree, you know, we may not agree with the different factions or the different sects of the Jews. That, you know, some may say, oh, we'll do it from, you know, Friday sunset to Saturday sunset and so on and so forth. But I keep telling everybody that our Sabbath was always sunrise to sunrise. In other words, our Sabbath, our whole day was sunrise based. Everything was set by the sun, and we simply did not keep a sunset Sabbath, although that traditionally towards the reign of the Romans and the Greek, we did have it, where a lot of the people were told to keep it sunset to sunset because the Gentiles forced it upon us. So some of our people succumbed to that, and they did start to do sunset to sunset. But the priesthood, it is recorded in history and in the Jewish books today of history that the priesthood never gave up the sunrise Sabbath. So I stick to that today as well. My Sabbath starts Saturday, sunrise, and ends at sunset. Now, I'm not saying that you will have to do the same, but that's what I do. That's what my forefathers did. And so that's that. And having said that, if you believe in a lunar Sabbath, which some groups do, they keep a Sabbath on maybe Tuesday one week and Thursday another week, then that's fine. That's up to you to decide on the day for yourself. If you want to follow that model, sure, go ahead, if it works for you. But if you want to follow the model of Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, sure, no problem. And if you want to follow my model that my forefathers followed, which was sunrise, then sure, go ahead, do that too. It's no problem. Either way, I don't have a problem with it. You're completely free to choose for yourself this day. To me, this day is important because it's a covenant day. So therefore, that's that part of it. Now we know that God gave Moses 2 tables or 2 small stones of testimony. And even though God had gave them the testimony, our Midrash tells us that people had already made the calf downstairs. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Now, the Midrash writes on this that it is usual for an earthly king to bestow gifts on his subjects and furnish supplies for them, as long as they are loyal to him, being then obliged to support them. But as soon as they rebel against him, God forbid, he has no obligation whatsoever towards them, and he immediately cuts off their supplies and a penalty for denying his royal authority. With God, however, it is not so, for while they were busy provoking him to anger below, he was occupied in the heavens with bestowing upon them a Torah of life. So that's an important thing to think about. And also the Midrash writes, the Talmud writes on this, and Rashi quotes it. He said that when Moses ascended the mountain, he said to them after 40 days, in the first 6 hours of the day I shall return. Therefore, that the day of his ascent should be counted as one of the 40. While he meant for 40 full 24-hour days, in truth, the day of his ascent, Sivan 7, which is a Hebrew month, by the way, should not have been counted, since it did not include the previous night, meaning that the 40 days ended on Tammuz 17. On the 16th of Tammuz, Satan came and filled the world with darkness and confusion. Said he to them, where is your teacher Moses? He has ascended on high. They answered him. The 6th hour has come, said he to them, but they disregarded him. He is dead, but they disregarded him. So Satan showed them a vision of Moses' coffin. This is what they said to Aaron. For this man Moses, who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. So this is, by the way, quoted in the Talmud from Rashi. So having said that, a lot more can be said within this. A lot of things can be said, but we do know that explicitly, whichever way you decide to honor the Sabbath, it is great that you do. Do decide to honor it, and do decide to do it the best way you can. Because if you can do it, it'll be great. So please, do honor yourself, honor your family, keep the Sabbath up. Ed is saying it's amazing they just gave up on the 40th day. You would have think that they would at least give it a few more days for him to get back. Of course, I think they became impatient. Isn't that the story with humanity today? When things happen, people don't give it time. They become impatient. And we see the state of the world today, where the world is today, with impatience. So impatience can breed a lot of problems. It doesn't matter who Yeshua is to this group. Because, if you're going to put a label on us, then we serve Yahweh. We serve the Torah. So that's your answer to that question. You're all searching after labels, and we're not interested in labels. This is the house of Israel. The house of Israel don't care about labels. We care about what God has directed in His Torah in the first 5 books. And Yeshua, who you want to put a dot on, he actually also said, obey the Torah. So, our people were looking for a savior, looking for a king. Well, guess what? Yeshua was not that king for them. And he wasn't that savior either, so they rejected him. Having said that, that is for those people who rejected him. So I'm not going to sit here and judge them good or bad. So if Yeshua is a Messiah to you, Baruch Hashem. If it's not a Messiah to you, Baruch Hashem. Either way, it don't matter to us. What matters to us is the Torah of Moses. That's what matters to me, because we do not go bathing in blood. By the way, let me be very succinct and clear. There is no commandment in the Torah that says I have to believe in somebody's blood that is going to save me, or I have to bathe in his blood. And Christians are always bathing in the blood of Jesus. No, thank you. I don't need to do that, and neither do you. So beware that it's actually a violation of Torah to do that. And Jesus didn't go around bathing people in his blood either. But, if some other group came up and started to do that, I would steer clear of that group. So with that, there's probably a lot more I could say. But like I said earlier, if you are trying to meet your desires and goals, which is Torah, by the way, that is Torah, meeting your desires and goals. And every time you read the word pray, read imagination. And if you got it, then Baruch Hashem for that. Then you're on top of the world already. So stay safe. If you're not sure of something, you know my email address, forever-israel.com, Abrahamic-Faith.info. our websites. You can write in, and I'm more than happy to help you at shimon63@yahoo.com, simmold@gmail.com, SHIMOUN63@yahoo.com, or SIMALT@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to help you, but give me something to help you with. Show me what you're doing, so then I can guide you as to whether you're doing it right or wrong. I cannot guide you if I don't know what you're doing is wrong. I can only guide you if what you tell me what you're doing, and then I can guide you as to what is right, what is wrong. But having said that, there is a midbrain meditation. It's a very powerful meditation. I want you to at least do it for 6 minutes a day, every day, and it's available. I can send it to you free if you don't have it. It's in one of my teachings, and if you don't have that teaching, I can send you the meditation separately in email at no cost. So if it helps you, and it has helped many people, then I'm happy for you. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh, be well, enjoy the Sabbath, and over to you, Rabbi Kefa.
Tadara Bahakonim, and I welcome all to the room who are here. If I can be heard, can I get a one? Tada for your instruction and your guidance. The Shabbat is a day, Tada for your responses, by the way. The Shabbat is a day for you definitely to be happy, and definitely not to be grieving, but with the information that I received from my Kohen about a brother in the way. Rabbi John, I invoke your name now, and my thoughts go out to you in the next life, and thank you for the time that we did spend together. Broke bread with Rabbi John, and we traveled together, and I just would like to give commemorations out to his family, and for all the rest of the rabbis here who have come into acquaintance with Rabbi John in some way, shape, or fashion. May not be many of you here in this room, but back in the early days, we did take a trip to Israel and visit the temple ruins. As you all know, that our temple is in ruins. If you didn't know that, it is. And Rabbi John did make that trip, that pilgrimages with us, and we did do that. Lack of words, lack of speech right now. So I'd like to give thanks for your service and for your life, Rabbi John. And just knowing you. And Baruch Hashem, I will see you in the next life, and I will definitely see you in Israel one day with the Master. So desires to linger. So on that note, I would just like to celebrate the life of Rabbi John, because he was a brother in the way. We did travel together, did great things together, but again, he had the ability to choose and make choices for himself. He decided to go a different road, just like all of you. You have the choice to be here or not. Nobody is putting shackles on you, or nobody is tying you up and telling you have to come to this forum or listen to this message via YouTube or whatever social media devices out there today. So I think that's important to understand as well, is that the gift of life is given to all. You have the ability to choose what you're going to do with the life you've been given. Now, hopefully, which I don't hope, but my desire is that you cling to the Torah, cling to the words of the Creator of the heavens and the universes, and use that as your baseline, as your foundation to establish yourself in life. Now, on that note, I would also like to say, I tell you, I will never leave the Kohen. I will never. I am Yehoshua or Joshua in the Bible. I have that mindset where I will never ever leave the Kohen. I don't care. Come Shiloh or Sheol, come hell or high water. I'm just letting you know right now, I'm not leaving the Kohen. That's just what it is. And yeah, we have been through a lot. And yes, people are going to talk about you up and down the block. But at the end of the day, if you follow the roadmap that you've given from the Kohen that we've been given, you follow the example that we've been given, it'll make your life so much easier, so much better. And you'll have such a peace about you. Because I can guarantee you, regardless of what your religious affiliation is, and if you're in this room, I just want you to know this is not a religion, but a way of life. But if you come out of some kind of religious institution, whether you have no belief in anything, like most Chinese do, they don't have a belief. They don't believe in a God. They don't believe. They have no belief. Or wherever you come from, where you're so surrounded with religion and you've been conditioned by religion, at the end of the day, whatever vehicle you've come out of, every human being, because I'm a student of humanity, I believe that every human being wants peace. They want peace in their life. You look at all these countries in the world, yeah, they may have their problems or they may have their little specks, but at the end of the day, they all want peace. They want peace. They want inner peace. They want peace for their country. They want peace for the fellow human being. I mean, peace is a default setting for all humanity, animals and plants included as well. Pets and plants included as well. So I think it's very important to understand. And I tell you, I haven't, I seeked out peace for a very long time. Didn't really understand what I was really looking for, but I found it in peace. And I realized that I wanted peace in my life, regardless of what happens with my life, what goes on from day to day. What I wanted was peace. At the end of the day, I just wanted peace. That peace that the Bible talks about, that passes all understanding. I wanted that peace. And as you know, we live in the greatest shepherd nation on the face of this earth, and I guess I'm being partial because I'm in America. But America is the greatest shepherd nation on the face of this earth. And I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people running around with no peace. And in many ways, fashion, shape, forms, they run around with no peace, not only in America, but around the world right now. How many of you have witnessed that as students of nature this past 6 days of labor? It's just people running around, and they truly lack peace. And you just sit there and you watch them, and you be that peace. You be that peace for them, because they don't have it. So you have to not be the peace, but actually show peace. You just do peace. And that'll, not for your responses, by the way, but that'll attract them to you, because that's what they desire as well, and they don't even know it. But you'll run into every kind of situation, circumstance, to where people don't have peace. Peace for whatever reason. Because of corona, peace because of relationship, lack of peace because of divorce, or whatever. It comes in many forms. Situations come in many shapes and forms, correct? So we have to understand that going forward is that we have to be the ambassadors of peace. We say it all the time, shalom, 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 shalom. But truly, do we have it? Well, this time is truly a great test. In this age right now, in this moment that we're in, we have a great opportunity to be examples of peace. So I would encourage you all not to run in fear, not to run in impatience. And Eddie, you hit the donkey right center mass when you on the tail when you talked about how the people couldn't wait. They couldn't wait, and that's what I wrote down. Could not wait. I wrote that down. Is that our forefathers, our ancestors could not wait. They could not wait for Moses, so they went on doing their own little thing. They could not wait. And what did they begin to do? They began to listen to social media, correct? They began to listen to rumor and gossip. Oh, well, he's dead. Moses is dead. So let's move on. Next leader up. Moses is dead, so let's continue to do what we want to do. Okay. Who's going to be next leader? Who are we going to worship now? And so when you look at your lives, you look at this great gift of life, I want you all to consider that as you make decisions and choices, is don't be in the could not wait camp, to where you just could not wait. I could not wait for this to come to pass, so I want to do something else. So I broke the method, I broke the formula because I could not wait. I broke the commandment because I could not wait. How many of you have been in that situation one time or another in your life, and you made the decision of, well, I could not wait. So I went on and did something else that even got you in more trouble or even made the situation even worse because you could not wait. And then as you Monday morning quarterback, you realize, man, if I would have just waited, I could not wait to come with that comeback and slander somebody else or badmouth somebody. I couldn't wait. I just couldn't hold it anymore. And then you realize, just like Akoya said in his lecture, that the power of your tongue does more damage, inflicts death upon somebody because of what you spoke out of your mouth, because you could not wait to get it out. You couldn't hold it. You couldn't be patient. You could not wait and sit on the last instructions that you've been given. And one time or another, we're all guilty of this. We're human beings. It's called psychology, and it's built within us. I know when in dealing with the Forex, and sometimes I just cannot wait to hop on that trade. How many of you have been there? Eddie, you probably, I know I'll go in, you know what I'm talking about. You could not wait to hop on that trade, so you get in early. And you realize, man, I knew I should have waited, but I just could not wait. I could not wait. And then maybe the trade goes against you for a while, and then eventually comes back, but you realize, oh, Daniel, you know what I'm talking about? I just could not wait. So you hop in early. So it's just built into human nature. It's built into human psychology to be this way. The could not wait mentality. But you know what counters the could not wait mentality? Is to have that peace about you that passes all understanding. Peace, and I'll give you another P word. Peace and patience. Well, that's probably the title for a lecture, right? Peace and patience. So I would encourage you, and I would admonish all of you all around the world that listen in, and being in the medical profession myself, I would encourage you to, how many of you are familiar with Old Spice? I grew up with Old Spice. You remember how they used to have Old Spice? I remember Christmas time. I used to always get the Old Spice little box gift set, or the Brit gift set. How many know what I'm talking about? You get the little Brit gift set, have the little cologne in there. It may have the little, I'm going back. I may be going back for some of y'all, but it has the little Brit green bottle with the little aftershave in there, and it comes with the little soap. I mean, you remember what I'm talking about? Yeah, a little deodorant. Hey, you remember they used to always have the soap on the rope, and they have a bar of soap. How many of you are familiar with that? I know I may be dating myself, but you're familiar with the soap they used to carry on the rope? I want to encourage, I'll tell you, they just come to my mind as I'm dealing with all of these people running around. I was in Sam's just yesterday. Sam's, I tell you. And I tell you, let me give you a great bit of instruction. Listen to the instruction of your wife. My wife told me 2 weeks ago, honey, we need to buy some rice. She told me, she said, honey, I said, honey, we have a lot of rice at home. She said, no, honey, we need to buy some rice. Sure enough, we go to Sam's yesterday, guess what? Pallets of rice, how cool, he's just missing. I mean, all the rice, big, I mean, you know, Sam's, Costco's have these big old things in this rice. Pallets of rice just gone, and they don't even know when they're getting some in. And I'm like, my goodness. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Daniel says, yeah, all gone. How many of you know what I'm talking about? You have seen the impatience, you have seen the hysteria of what's going on in the world right now in your neighborhood. You just go to your neighborhood store. And it wasn't like that last week, Mishpah. It was not like that. I'm like, man. So I was asking one of the cashiers there, I was like, hey, have you noticed any difference? I'm just noticing that, Sam's a little light these days. She was like, yeah, there's been a run on food. I was like, yeah, I can tell. And you can hear people down the aisles. Oh, there's no more Clorox wipes. Oh, there's no more hand sanitizers. I'm like, my goodness. And they're running around here like chickens with their head cut off. And I'm like, my goodness. How about just go get a bar of soap? Put it on a rope, carry it around with you wherever you go. Because, get this, where there's soap, there will always be what? Water. So listen, if you just use soap and water, that'll do tons better for you than the hand sanitizer. With all of that alcohol in it, you know what it's doing? Over time, how many of you experienced this? When you use that hand sanitizer over time, have you noticed how it dries your hands out? And your hands become really, really dry and starts cracking? Anybody familiar with what I'm talking about? Is a witness and a watcher. If you continue to use that hand sanitizer, it just begins to crack your hands and they get real dry and crusty. That's just what happens. That's just why, because of all that alcohol in your hand. And then guess what? Guess what happens when you get those cracks in your hands? You just opened up another avenue for infection to come in. Because your hands are all cracked. And then sometimes it can even start bleeding or developing the scabs on there because of all of that just habitually using the hand sanitizer. When if you just carry the soap on the rope, good old, faithful, tested, proven soap on the rope, carry it around with you, and put the hand sanitizer to one side. Because, newsflash, it's going to be very difficult for you to find it these days. Because everybody's running around in fear. Now, I understand that you have to prepare. I get that. And so we go to my wife's favorite Chinese grocery here in town, And the Chinese got smart. You know what they did? In the Chinese store, they said, okay, yeah, you can buy some rice, but we're going to only limit you to 1 bag per family. I thought that was smart, because that'll lessen the run. That'll lessen the run on all the rice. You can only take 1 bag and be happy and go your merry way instead of hoard it all. And guess what? The next man just can't even go in there and get some rice. And I'm in the parking lot. These guys are coming up to me. I don't know these guys from Adam. And they're walking up to me and they say, hey, did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo on why everything is missing? I'm like, yes, sir, I totally agree with you. It's just people. He said, man, people just run around here in fear, and I'm not able to get my weekly supply of food that I just need. I'm not here to take 10 months supply of food. I just want to get my weekly supply, and I can't get it. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I said, stay the course, and everything will be fine. He said, did I not get the memo? He said, did the rapture come? And I missed it. I was like, yeah, I don't know, but just stay the course. Just stay the course and continue on in your merry way, and you will find some rice somewhere. And I directed him to a few Muslim stores in town, so he can go get him some rice, and he can truly be happy. So, and carry on with his life. So these are the things that we have to look at going forward, is that some folks have to sit here and be calm and be peace, and hold your peace and be calm in the face of Corona. Be calm. Be calm. Now, I'm not saying don't be prepared. Prepare yourself. You should always be prepared, Jews. You should be prepared. You should be prepared. You should already have these things. You should have your water and everything. You should have had this before Corona. Just be prepared. Always be prepared. If you don't learn any lesson from this, it's just always be prepared. You see, if you're always prepared, then you don't have to prepare. How many of you get what I just said? If you're already prepared, then you don't have to prepare. Anybody with me on that? That's a very important point. If you're already prepared, then you don't have to prepare. You just continue on with your life. You see, it's very important. Simha, this is for you. I know you had a question earlier for Kohen. This is going to be a personal thing for you. You have to decide. This is a choice that you have to make. You see, you have to weigh this out. Are you going to judge this individual by the Torah standard, or do you love the man and the man loves you? This is very important for you to understand. And you're going to have to weigh this out. You see, are you going to show mercy and compassion? Like some people, we're going to give, again, I've noted this being with our Kohen, is that people are not going to like you or they're going to love you, period. That's at the end of the day. See, folks can't find neutrality. And I'm going to quote you something from our books that Hakohen's forefather said that was very, very important, and that we need to understand in a minute. But what you need to understand is people can't be neutral. There's very few people in the world that can be neutral. Either they're going to love you or they're going to hate you. But nobody can meet in the middle, and that's what you, Israel, you need to be in the middle. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. You just stay right in the middle. So you have to ask yourself this question. Yael, woman of tent, super happy that you made it. I sent you some invites. I don't know if you got. But I think it's very, very important that you understand is that you have to decide when you deal with a relationship and your witness to the Torah that you're witnessing. Because, again, at the end of the day, these individuals that you come in contact with, they may be the only Torah that they see in their life. And are you going to be a Torah that exudes compassion, love, loving kindness, long-suffering, the same things that you want from our Father, as we have the DNA of El Shaddai. You see, we want these things from El Shaddai, but we don't want to give these things out to our neighbor. You understand what I'm saying? So we're quick to be judgmental and condemn everybody to hell and hell's fire, which doesn't exist, by the way. Because we have this condition that, I have the Torah and you don't. So to hell with you. At the end of the day, that's what you're saying. I'm going to say, can you please remind people that hot running water over their hands and rubbing them together removes germs from one's hands. Some places don't have soap. Yeah, I get you. Hot water. Don't burn your hands up, but yeah, hot water. Hot water. Hot water. Yeah, see what I'm saying? No personal question. I ask for women in general because any woman should not be at the head of the house. Well, let's throw a caveat in that as well. Sometimes you say that, because at the end of the day, until you marry and come under the umbrella of your husband, the covering of your husband, and even after that, if your husband is in Christianity, Christianity's not your covering. If you're still in the Torah, your covering is still going to be who? The Kohen. The Kohen will still be your covering. You understand what I'm saying? Well, your husband may fumble and mumble with Christianity until maybe he comes out, or maybe he never comes out. But again, if how many of you understand that there are a lot of Christians love? There's some loving people. There's some kind people. There's some loving people. I know a lot of great Christians. I know a lot of great Catholics that love, and they will treat you right, and they will be a great husband to you, and they're just all around great men. There's a lot of great Christian men in the world that'll take care of their families, that'll be that provider. The only thing that a lot of folks are hung up on is that they're Christian and that they go to Sunday church. Now, if a man is going to treat you right, and look, we'll respect you for what you want to do with your Torah and eat your permissible foods and blah, 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 and if the two of you can come together and have a life together, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. But you're not here to condemn him and put him down because he's a Christian. He's always been a Christian. His mom was a Christian. His grandmama was a Christian. And you're going to come in and say, well, if you want to marry me, then you have to convert to the way of Moses. Well, in some offshoot way, he's following the way of Moses, but maybe you could be there to help him and guide him in the proper way of doing it. We're going to look at this analogy in a minute with this parsha that's going to really just maybe blow your socks off and really help you understand, the real relevance and the importance of 2020 and why the Kohen is on the shores of North America right now. Very important. So the head of a woman, regardless if she marries outside of the faith of Abraham, will always, unless she wants to convert to whatever religion the husband wants her to do, with choice. But if she wants to continue in the Torah, her covering will always be the Kohen, the leader that was always a leader and guru. Are you with me, Simha? So just because you say, well, if the man has all the qualities that you like in a man, except that he's not following the laws of Moses the way you follow them, are you going to let that be the deciding factor on why you don't have a happy home and a happy relationship and a happy husband and a happy life? And that would be truly a bad way and a big mistake, if you ask me. Because there are a lot of good men and women in this world who do not follow the laws of Moses the way you follow them because they're ignorant. They just don't know any better. They haven't been taught any better. They haven't come into the revelation that you have. Are you going to condemn them for that? We should not. Yah forbid. And I'm not speaking at you, Simha, like you said. I'm talking to all the women out there in general, because maybe that's the hiccup to where a lot of you don't establish great relationships. And you passed up many opportunities because, well, they're not following the laws of Moses. Torah's not king in their life, so I can't be with them. Well, my goodness. Let's look at it this way, and I'll ask the men in the room. How many men in the room? How many Torah is king men in this whole world do you think is out there in this whole world? It's not many. To where Torah is king and rules the rules for men. There's not many men out there that's like that, where they can really actually say that. So I'm saying, good answer, that many women and me do not know that the Kohen remains the covering. Oh, always. He's going to always be your leader, your spiritual leader. Oh, that's going to be always and forever. Now, what? You see, we in ancient times, everything was more class-oriented, right? Because during those times, there weren't the mixing was not on the level as it is today. And Hakohen will be a watcher and a witness to this as well. He'll tell you that families married within the family, and that's just what it was. That's just how it is in the East. Hakohen will tell you that up front. But now, because of our dispersion and being placed in exile, and the Torah tells us that we mixed into all these nations, my goodness. Just that word mixing alone will tell you that we have a lot of leeway now. We have a lot of leeway to mingle, because that's what's been commanded, and it's been commanded for a great blessing. For us to mix and mingle, because now you have the opportunity to bring in somebody who would have never had the opportunity to come into revelation, because they're with you every day. They see you every day. They see the Torah, not what you say, but the Torah, how you live. And Baruch Hashem for that. So I give thanks for, the compassion and the mercy that I can exude and demonstrate that my Father has given me. And when I say Father, my spiritual father is the Kohen, and the Father whose DNA I come from, the El Shaddai. If he can be that way, then I should be that way as well. Not trying to sit here and divide, but to multiply Israel. How many of you understand? Israel multiplies. We don't divide. So when people come in here trying to divide me by their statements, I cut that off at the head. You're not going to come in here and try to divide Israel, because Israel cannot be divided. We're multipliers. So we want to bring in as many people as we can. How do we do that? By being a hate group? By protesting? By, discriminating? No. On the contrary, by showing love and compassion towards all, long-suffering towards all, to agree to disagree with you respectfully. Do you see? Yaakov, Shabbat Shalom to you. Do you understand? That's our remit. Well, for a lot of folks, that's easier said than done, because they want to run in fear. They don't want to have any peace. They don't want to hold their calm. They want to give you all the worries of the corona. Oh, I'm going to die of corona. Oh, I didn't even know about this asteroid, whatever that's going to fly by, whatever. It's going to hit the earth and blah, blah, blah. See, a lot of this stuff you just got to block out sometime. And just leave it to it, because you know within you, greater is he that is within you, that he is within this world, he is that is out in space as well, Baruch Hashem. Yes, blah, 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 Elion. Indeed. 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 And that's the important point that we all need to understand, is that we have our foundation and we have our base to do what? To demonstrate to the rest of the world on how you need to live. The best thing that all of you could do is tell everybody around you that are running in fear, that come up to you and ask you, what are you doing? You need to tell them, onion in your house, onion in your house, onion in your house, onion in your house. Soap and water, onion in your house. Soap and water, onion in your house. There you go. At the end of the day. Now, the big word this week I've heard is what? Social isolation. I get that. Social isolation. Don't have big crowds. I tell you, check out the NBA. No Spurs games here in San Antonio. My daughter just informed me that they're not going to have school next week. How many of you are dealing with that? Your children are going to be out of school for a while. And you see, all of these things, they're taking proactive steps. Now, is the coronavirus here in San Antonio? Yes, because we have major medical facilities here that are treating those people. They flew them into San Antonio so that we can treat them, because we have, I'm telling you, we have top-notch medical facilities. But has it spread through the city? No, it hasn't. But they're being proactive, and they're taking preventive measures, do you see, to get ahead of it. And that's what's important, you see. Devorah says schools are out for 30 days here, and I guess Wisconsin, WI. So they're taking proactive measures and not letting just the corona just creep up on them and, we'll deal with it when it comes. Now they're saying at Walmart, how many of you listened to the president's speech yesterday? I tell you, that was amazing, wasn't it? Especially for those of you who are in the stock market. Right, Akoli? Did you watch the market eddies? How about you, Daniel? Did you see how the market shot up as words were spoken from the president and his army of counsel that he had behind him? and all these executives of these big companies saying, yeah, we're going to, you heard in what the executive was saying. Yeah, normally we're rivals because we're in it. We're rivals, but now we have to put our rivals to the side, and we're all in this together because we're Americans and we're going to get through this. What an awesome speech, wasn't it? And you saw the market just shoot up on what, 1,000-something points? Close to 2,000 points at the end of the day when it was just physically. You see, words have power, I'm telling you. I saw, yeah, almost 2,000 points, right, Daniel? That was amazing. I was like, oh, yeah. He said, yes, the president reminded them that to be a Jew and wash your hands. Oh, indeed he did, Indeed he did. And you know what that did? That brought calm, that brought peace to people. Why do you think the market shot up? Because everybody running in fear? No, it brought calm and peace to people. And it empowered people to say, oh, you know what? It encouraged people, yeah, you know what? I'm going to invest in the market. I mean, I'm just looking at the dollar. But if you saw the market do, the sentiment of the market do that, stock market, how much more so did it do for individuals as well? They said, you know what? We all go, oh, I went to the store and there was no rice. I'm not going to get anxiety over that. The president said we're going to get through this. The president has our back. My wife just showed me a text message. She said that Walmart, which was one of the CEOs that was in President Trump's army yesterday in that meeting, that Walmart's going to carry the test. You're going to be able to buy them at Walmart. And if you can't afford them, you're going to get the test for free. Baruch Hashem, to test for the corona. That's beautiful. See, that's putting money to one side for a minute and just dealing with humanity. And taking care of people. And just like Hakoli said, all leaders are doing this. They're trying to preserve life. Yeah, the CEO of Target was there as well. And if you own some Target, that's good for you. You own some Walmart, that's good for you as well. I know some people making out real good in this, so-called bearish market off of Walmart and a couple other of these companies that are fucking the system. They're going against the grain. Because America is such a great nation, and we're going to get through this. We are, and we're going to do even better. That's the resilience of America. But what makes America so great is because you have a melting pot of many different cultures that come together. Do you see the beauty in that? You have a mixing of all these different cultures, men and women, different ethnicities, all coming together for what? The common good of humanity. Not only for America, but we're outreaching. I heard the president say the other day, he said, oh, and if Iran is listening, we're willing to help you. You see, you put all of this fighting stuff and can't get along stuff to one side for a minute when it comes to life or death. Now, I'm invoking Rabbi John's name again, because I tell you what, if Rabbi John was alive and he would have contacted Hakoin, even after all the drama and after all, Hakoin would have still had open doors for him. And I know Hakoin, he would have did it. I don't want to speak for him, but I know he would have. He would have held a conversation with Rabbi John and would have welcomed Rabbi John, had open arms for him. He would have done that. But Rabbi John never got around to doing that, but his wife contacted us, or contacted our Kohen, and was trying to contact me as well. But that's what it is. You come together, you put all of this hatred and animosity for one another to one side for a minute when you're dealing with humanity and life and death. And you all come together for the common good. How beautiful was that? I tell you, Hakohen said, I wish he had contacted me earlier. You would have saved his life. Oh, indeed. Indeed, you would have, Hakohen. That's what a Kohen does. A preserver of life, not a life negator. My goodness. To preserve life and to give life. Through the Kohen, I have brought forth life. I got Sean running around here. Today, he's 6 months. Can you believe that? 6 months old, not Sean, running around the house. Making all kind of noise. Up all night, Bukashir. Well, no, not up all night anymore. Almost walking. Rolling over. He's doing his rolls now. He's tumbling and rolling over now. I tell you, Bukashir. He's learning some Hebrew, some Mandarin, and some English. Well, he's giving it all. But through our Kohen, life, life, bringing forth life, not negating life. And how Kohen stepped foot right in this very house that I'm talking about right now. My life has changed dramatically. Not only my life, but the life of those that are with me now. Because my wife tells me every day, I'm so lucky, honey, to be in America. I say, yes, you are. While all our friends over there in China run around like chickens with their head cut off and have their doors welded to where they can't get out. Can you believe that? They welded the doors to where they can't. My mother-in-law, she can't get out of her house because they welded the door. Shut. You're not getting out. So we tell you you're going to get out. Are you kidding me? She was saying they're running out of rice over there and this, that, the other, and the third. They ordering stuff, but they still can't get it because, logistics and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, Baruch Hashem. My wife says, I'm so lucky to be in America, so grateful. Mishpachah, we have so much to be grateful for. Yet we worry about the petty things that don't have, that don't hold any water. So much to be grateful for. I called you somebody this video this morning. I watched it this morning about this couple. Looked like they're a married couple. But one man had no legs, and the husband had no legs, and the wife was missing one arm. But they look like the most happiest couple, and they just getting on. The two become one, and believe me, they work as one unit together. And you're seeing that, and I'm like, wow, I am so happy, and I'm so grateful for what I have in a family, healthy family. I could say perhaps if there was no hand sanitizer, I said distilled vinegar kills good and bad germs as well. Oh yeah, it does, I could eat. And I was in Sam's yesterday, and I brought in a few more cases of vinegar because I use it anyway. Vinegar, I drink it. I make teas with vinegar, and vinegar and turmeric powder. And, I use it with cleaning as well. Great product. My grandmother was a big fan, old Creole woman that she was a big fan of vinegar. Vinegar has many benefits to it. You don't believe me? Just ask Uncle Google. Yeah. And guess what else was filled chock-a-block? They sure had a lot of onions in there. People weren't buying onions. So Sam's had many onions there and a lot of vinegar. So I think it's very, 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 very important. And again, baking soda is another one of those. Yep, I use vinegar. It's a great marinade. Man, I can make meat fall off the bone with some vinegar. Let it sit for a while. Let it wait. Be patient with vinegar, and vinegar can do wonders for you. Sodium bicarbonate, baking soda. Indeed, I brush my teeth with baking soda. Neutralizes that mouth and all the germs in your mouth. Stay away from the toothpaste products. I always say vinegar will prevent the flu if you eat it regularly. And Colleen, I haven't had, full disclosure, I haven't had the flu shot in over 10 years, and I haven't had the flu. And I'm a big fan of vinegar. I do drink it almost every single day. Every single day. Vinegar is a mainstay as a part of my diet. In one way, shape, form, or fashion. So again, there is definitely some truth to what our Cody's statement made about the flu and vinegar. Believe me. I'm telling you, I'm a medical professional. I deal with people that get the flu all the time. And I haven't picked it up, Baruch Hashem. I give thanks. So sometimes we put our focus on the wrong things, Mishpachah. We're out here running with the masses, and when that run out, then there's nothing left. Oh, it's doom and gloom. Oh, I'm going to die because I don't have no hand sanitizer? Go figure. I was talking to my daughter about this yesterday. I said, the problem is with you, my daughter, is that you have a house. Say like you're a house. And in your house, you only have one door. And so when you cannot open that door, then you have no ability to move or get out of your house because you only have one door. Now what you need to consider doing is in your house making more than one door the way you can come and go. So when that one door is closed or blocked, then you have other avenues of getting out. You have other avenues of moving. That's very important, Mishpachah. Very, very important. And also told her this, that may resonate with some of you as well. It came from me in Wolfman. Don't put your focus on one thing, because when you focus on one thing too much, then you miss the focus for the rest, for everything. Think about that for a minute. If you only focus on one thing, and that's your only focus, then you miss the focus of everything because you're only focusing on that one thing. So it's good to what? Diversify. That's important. To have many focuses. Think about that for a minute. You see, because people are decimated by focusing on one thing. I've heard it said this way as well. Never put all of your eggs in one basket. How many of you heard that one before? Never put all your eggs in one basket. That's another way of saying it. So you never want to do that. Because if you lose that basket, Yah forbid, then you've lost everything. So consider that going forward. Someone says, remember though, apple cider is best for consumption. Baking soda is used for bathing, hair washing, and oral care. Get off of that, Simha. So there's many different avenues. Again, you see, now what we're opening up to the rest of the world, your universe, wherever you are, is other opportunities, many other doors to go in. I mean, because people were saying no bleach was like the end of the world in saying. You can hear them in the house. Oh, there's no more bleach. They just emptied the last pallet of... I'm like, my goodness, what's this? What? My goodness. They just emptied the last pallet of bleach. That's it. You call it, my goodness. I was like, my goodness, where's the peace? They don't have it. Somebody needs to have it. Elion at Yisrael saying, I just wanted to say I've been watching Akoi's videos on YouTube that were made years ago, but they're all still fresh in 2020. Some top ones I love titled Grace in Torah, Hebrews Guard the Torah in 2014, and even for today, this one is very relevant. Before a disaster, look to God. They are truly an increase, and they are truly an increase to revisit and watch. The top of that, Elion, indeed. Torah's words, the words from Kohen are fresh and new, just like the Torah is. That was written so many years ago. So we need to consider that. I would all admonish you to hold your peace in this time. Don't be like the masses out there. And, people are going to talk about you. People are going to put you down. But at the end of the day, how many of you understand, and we're going to get into this in a minute, that, there is Torah is an evolution. Your way in the Torah, are you, how many of you in this room with your Torah, you're evolving? Or, how many of you, please, if you would put up, some kind of response. In your Torah way of life, you continue to evolve. Anybody in this room, to where your Torah is an evolution? Because we must understand this point. Is that your Torah has to be, there has to be a, you see, because some people, right, they think, to for your responses. Wow, there's a lot of responses coming in, by the way, to for that. Because some folks think that, no, your Torah can't evolve in 2020. Your Torah has to be the same Torah of the Torah of Moses. And that's just not applicable. How many of you understand that? See, Moses didn't have an iPhone. Think about it for a minute. Moses didn't drive a car. Moses didn't have a car stove. So there has to be an evolution of the Torah. And this is what I want you to understand this day. Moses prepared a new set of tablets. We're going to get to that in a minute because I think that's so relevant. So relevant. Moses prepared a new set of tablets like the first ones, though. Like the first ones. So we dealt with the hand wash. I don't need to go there with the hand washing. If you move Exodus chapter 30, verse 19, we kind of get clarity on Aaron and his sons are to wash their hands and feet. All Jews, that's a great habit for all Jews to do. I'm not a priest, and I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. But that's a great custom and tradition to pick up in your home. I'm already teaching now John. Hey, every time I wash my hands, he's washing his hands. Before and after we eat, hand wash. I'm explaining it to him. I mean, it's law at our house. You will wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Many times, Jews, we wash our hands. We wash our hands. So then we see in this parsha as well, we see in our history that we have our ancestors doing the electric slide with the golden calf, the dance with the golden calf. Exodus chapter 32, starting verse 21. I think this is instructional. This is why I want to read this. I think it's very important that we look at this and we don't let this pass by in our history. And Moshe, again, I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Please get this Bible in your library. You will listen via YouTube and in this room as well. It's a great edition. You can get it on Amazon. Abrahamic-Faith Bible. It'll really enhance your studies of our way of life and our way of living. Exodus chapter 32, verse 21. And Moses said to Aaron, what did this people do to you that you have brought such a great sin upon them? Now, I want you to listen to what Aaron said here very closely. In verse 22. So Aaron said, do not let the anger of my master become hot. You know the people that they are set on evil. You know the people that they are set on evil. Now, fast forward that into 2020. You know the people that they are set on evil. That's the problem with a lot of folks. Well, why you did this? Why you just slandering and just speaking against? Why? It's because their mindset, just like Aaron said, is on evil. Not good, not compassion, simha, not love. Their mindset is set on evil. You see where we're going? Their mindset, hey, they can put you down, they're going to put you down. If they're going to try to misquote you or say you're wrong, then that's what they're going to do. Instead of just looking at things and saying, okay, let me look at the bigger picture here. Let me start thinking outside of the box. Let me have a little bit more compassion, more love for humanity, more long-suffering for humanity. I can agree to disagree with you. I may not see that point the way you see it. You see what I'm saying? The Lord says, is it correct that we are not to wash our hands or ourselves in hot water on the Shabbat? What do you mean by wash your in hot water? I don't know. You can wash your hands on the Sabbath. Do you eat on the Sabbath? If you eat on the Sabbath, you have to wash your hands before and after you eat. You see, Hakon is telling you not correct. Great question, the Lord, because maybe somebody else had that same kind of thought process. So we have to look at this and say, okay, what kind of mindset? She's talking about starting a burner or a hot water. That is a different issue. Oh, you're talking to not wash your hands or to our hands or ourselves in hot water on the Shabbat. Okay, are you talking about washing, like making tea or something? Coffee on the Shabbat? Lighting the fire. Gotcha. That system is automatic. Need not to worry. There you go. No need to worry about that. So we go back to the mindset of what Aaron was talking about. And again, I'm not a descendant of Aaron, but I'm quoting this, and he'll tell you that most people's mindset is right now in that same place that we read about in the Torah as Aaron described it. You know that the people that they are set on evil. You got to find that the baseline from, and listen, we're not talking about Gentiles out here. We're talking about Jews, so-called Jews, so-called followers of the Torah, where their mindset is on evil. Well, Rabbi Kefa, how can you say that? It's because, let's face it, your biggest complaints are going to come from those who say they believe just the way you believe at the end of the day. Christians, they understand, okay, well, that's what they do that, and they leave us to it. But you're going to get all this slander. You know where it's going to come from? Those that say they're in the same camp with you. How many of you agree with me? How many of you are a watcher and a witness to it? It's not those people that are outside of the way of life. It's those, you get the biggest slander by those who say they believe just the way you believe, and you're not believing correctly. You're not doing it the right way. You're doing it the wrong way, and you should be doing it this way. And because you're not doing it that way, you're evil. You're going to hell. And God is not in you. You're not obeying the laws of Moses. Shame on you for evolving in the Torah and saying, oh, we should be kind to all people. We should have a respect for everybody's belief. We should have a respect for everybody's choice. We should have compassion upon all people, regardless of their sexual orientation. Come on, man. This should be default setting stuff. But just like Aaron said, and she moved in Exodus chapter 32, verse 22, you know the people, that they are set on evil, trying to find every little thing that you're doing wrong. Every little thing why they can come and slander you, speak against you, tell you you're not in the Torah, or don't follow this person because, please, man, I don't give no energy to these kind of people. I don't. I really don't. Because at the end of the day, they have no compassion. They have no love. Why would I want to put myself in that camp? You see? Yeah, Leon says, err on the side of mercy. Yet, most people who say they in the family don't. They don't want to show mercy or compassion or love for humanity, yet they want it from God. Are you kidding me? Who are you fooling? That's hypocritical. Oh God, please have mercy on me. Oh God, please save me. But you're not trying to save your neighbor? What good is that going to do you? But you just run down your neighbor. But you want communication with God. You want vertical communication with God, but you speaking and slandering against your neighbor. How is that going to work for you, Alex, for 1,000? Think about that for a minute. But yet that's what we get. And I tell you what, and I'm speaking personally, I can tell you, the more leeway that you give folks, the more love that you'll get. How many of you notice that as well? I've just opened up the gates here in my bay for leeway. Hey, do what you want to do. And guess what? I've got more love than I can ever imagine. From my wife, from my daughter. More love. Because they're like, wow, your Torah is really cool. Because it gives you the flexibility. I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you. Do what you want to do. But then you'll see with your eyes where you need to be and what is right. For not only your health and your welfare, but what is right and what gives you peace at the end of the day. Someone said everybody is to be given human dignity. From Isaiah chapter 11 says that everybody should be given. But no, we don't want to come from that standpoint, so-called family members, so-called under the umbrella of the Torah. Please, man, get out of my face. If you don't come in condemning this brother, that brother, the other brother, oh, you're not in the Torah, you're not in the Torah, you're not doing the Torah because you say his name crazy. Oh, please, come off of it. Come on, where's the compassion? Where's the love? Where's the mercy, right, Elio? Where's that at? But they sit there and they sit and wait. Oh, I can't wait to condemn. Oh, I can't wait to watch him slip up. When you don't understand that there's so much flexibility in the Torah. Well, let me paint this picture for you. Do you know what kind of people these are? These are people with a broken covenant, with a broken commandment. Think about what I just said. I painted a picture for you. See what I'm saying? Hashem will gather them from the four corners of the earth and the isles of the seas. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. That's straight out of Yeshayahu, out of Isaiah. Chapter 11. So, I'm painting the picture for you. This is the kind of people that we're dealing with. This is the exact kind of people we're dealing with. The people that sit and wait for you to fail. Not have success. Not be successful. Why? Not in the Torah. I want to condemn you and put you down instead of come together. And what should be the unifier but the Torah of Moses? But you see, the problem is they're following broken commandments. Not that the commandments are broken, but They are following a broken commandment system. And that is not based on anything that our forefathers have ever enacted from the beginning, from the very beginnings. Abraham, Yah forbid, if he was alive today, he'd be like, my goodness, what the hell is this stuff? That wasn't my belief system, my way of life. That's not how I had it. I had all doors open to everybody. Why all of a sudden are we dieting? Why all of a sudden are we hating? Slandering people, putting them down. Because they're following the broken commandments. The tablets that have been broken in their lives. And when it comes time to put them back together, just like we see. Now, we see Moshe, he did the same thing in anger. He did the same thing in anger. We look at Shemut, Exodus chapter 32, verse 19. So it was, as soon as he came near to the camp, he meaning Moshe, Moses, Musa, that he saw the calf and the dancing. They down there doing the electric slide. Boogie, woogie, woogie. Oh yeah, they doing that with the golden calf. Moses became enraged with anger, and he cast the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain. Broke the first set. Broke them. But then, get this. So you see a lot of people walking around with broken commandments. Just like those broken commandments. But you see here we tie this all together here. Believe it's coming together. But you see, this is what happened. And then Moshe was commanded to do what? Was to carve out two other tablets. Moshe was commanded to carve them out. And then the master would write on those two commandments. And see, that's the situation right now. Those that stick with the Kohen are going to get the new set, just like the old ones. But those that don't, they're going to still be walking around with broken commandments, broken covenants. Because, listen, I'm giving an example of why the covenants are broken. Because you can't be in the covenants walking around here protesting, walking around here slandering. That's broken commandments. Because right at the end of the day, you have broken the commandments, correct? Do you see where I'm going with this? This is why all these people, so-called family members, are walking around with broken commandments. They're broken. Broken. Figuratively and literally, they're broken. And see, they haven't been mended back together. They haven't gotten the second set just like the first ones. Why? It's because for that you got to be with Moses got to put them together. Now, here's the parallel. Do you see what HaKohen descended? Family member of Moses, do you see what he did? When we look at what was the Abrahamic-Faith and Exam study scriptures, was the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, was the what? Now the now it's called the Abrahamic-Faith Bible, the Hidden Hebraic Scrolls, these different names that we had for the Bible. But at the end of the day, do you see what he did? Is that the Bible had to be what? It had to be put back just like the first one. And who did that? Do you see the parallel here? You see where we're going? Follow it closely. So again, if you get an instruction from a son of Aaron, then you have a new set of tablets. But if not, then you just have broken tablets. And you're breaking the commandments. You have the new set of the covenants. The new set. Just like the first ones now, mind you. But again, you have to be with the sons of Aaron to be able to make sure that they stay new or they evolve with the age that we're in. Because last time I checked, how many of you ride around on a donkey or a camel? How many of you are? Please let me know. How many of you right now are riding around on a donkey? How many of you right now are riding on a camel? Well, Rabbi, my pinto sometimes seems like a camel. or my little Volkswagen. Seems like a camel sometimes, but yeah, you know what I mean. It's still 4 wheels. Be grateful, be happy. If you do have a car, book a ship. And manifest a better one for yourself. Hallelujah. Call it in. So, this is where we are. Right now in this time. As you see people come and go. As you see people come and go. What stays the same? Look at Shemut, Exodus chapter 34, verse 4. So he cut 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Then Moses rose up early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him, and he took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. He was commanded this earlier in Shemut, in Exodus chapter 34, verse 1, where it says here from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible that, and Yahweh said to Moshe, to Moses, to Musa, cut 2 tables or tablets of stone like the first ones. And I will write on these tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke. So in anger, the first ones were broken. Now, I can tell you, from what I've seen from the Levites, they do have, you don't want to get on their anger side. You don't want to see you don't want to see the tiger come out. They do have an angry side to them, but, you know, they keep a temper. And it's only pulled out when necessary. But a lot of the family members today, so-called Israel, they're still dealing and they're functioning on a broken set of tablets. Why? Because they haven't come to the fold. They haven't come back to the likeness of a Moses, to the likeness, to the sons of Aaron. Not likeness of Aaron, but, you know, Aaron and his sons. For the new set, that's just like the old one, by the way. But it's new. Why? What I mean by new, it's for this time. It's for 2020. That's why no question is a bad question, and we'd encourage you all to continue asking questions. But don't sit here continuing to condemn and put down, because in your mindset, and from what I see as a student of human nature, is you still dealing with broken tablets. Because, like the question I asked you earlier, you're not willing to evolve. You got to be willing to evolve with the Torah. And I know a lot of you understand that. That's why you should have questions for the Queen, because we continue to evolve. Especially with relationships, we have to continue to evolve and have the mindset of, oh yeah, I've been mixed into these nations. How many of you realize that you're not 100% nothing, that you mixed with a lot of stuff? How many of you understand that? For me, it's from French to, you know, Spanish to, you mix with a lot of stuff that you deal with it. You're not 100% anything. So correct me if I'm wrong, the Bible is right. The Bible said Israel will be mixed into the nations. Sure enough, you are watching the witnesses to the mix. You are in the mix. That'd be the title of a great lecture. You are in the mix. You are in the mix. That's what you are. You're in the mix. You've been mixed with everything under the sun. Now that's not all that important, because yeah, that happened and that's prophesied, and believe me, that really happened. We're the physical presentation of that spiritual manifestation. Now is for you to take the choice to be able to come into what the Master Yeshua called the new covenant, or the renewed contract. How's it going to be renewed? I mean, Hakomi did this in many different ways, and he continued to do it. He renewed the Bible. How many of you have a copy of the renewed Bible? Our history has been renewed to us. It's been made fresh to us. Am I correct? Put up a capital R if you have the renewed Bible. I mean, I have it. You have the renewed. It's been made fresh to you, right? It's been made fresh and new, and just like Ruach Hashem, it becomes real to you, and you realize, man, this is my history. This is who I really am. And this long search of trying to find out who you are. And following what? Broken commandments. How many of you at one time were following the broken commandments? I was. with a capital B. I was following the broken commandment because that's all I knew. But now I realize the commandments have been renewed. Just like Israel, we've been renewed. We've woken up out of our slumber, not to sit here and condemn people and put them down, but to realize that the exile is truly a blessing for everybody, for Gentiles to come into the fold of Israel, or to at least have the opportunity to have the understanding and maybe even get revelation to say, hey, this is the way of life I want to follow. I want to tell you, and I reiterate what our Kohen said, is that, and how many of you have seen this, is that the world loves the way Jews live. How many of you have actually seen that? Put a capital J up. The world loves the way we live. And they'll adopt some of our ways. Hey, let's just use the plates for example. You know, my neighbors have seen those plates on my gates, and they want some. And they're Catholics. And they're Christian, but they say, man, just like the Queen said, man, they want these things. Hey, they want them. They're like, wow, I want that for my house. So ain't no problem. Put it up, man. Book of Shem, you'll be blessed. Put this up, you're going to be blessed. See, this is what Jews keep in their house, on their gates, on their house, I want this too. To God for your responses, by the way. But they love the way. They may not follow everything, but they love our lifestyle. And that's just a foot in the door. Maybe later on they'll take on more. Or they have more questions for you. But I didn't have to say anything. They just saw. They're like, wow, what's these plates up? See, you know what they used to say before? I tell you what they used to say before. They say, somebody left a bill on your door. How many of you know, my neighbors, we have like this little neighborhood wax thing going on. They can say, hey, they're like, hey, Lamont, somebody left a bill on your door. You might want to get that off your door. I said, no, that's not a bill. That's the Ten Commandments. Hey, somebody left this letter on your door. You might want to go take it off. They left it on your gate to your backyard. I said, no. That's the Ten Commandments. They're like, huh? Ten Commandments. Well, now that they seeing them in that sterling in the silver, oh man, my goodness, they're like, wow. They're like, I want some of this for my house. I want to get one. I want to put it in my mom's house. I was like, book of Shem, put it in the house. This will bring blessings. They can't bring curses to you. This will bring blessings to you. That's God's name on there. You're like, oh, wow. That's cool. So, again, we're here. We're here to be a blessing to the Gentiles. And to be a blessing to the nation that we're in with them. And you know, we got to understand is that we're in their nation. They're not in ours. And our Torah exudes. Our Torah is life. So I'm not going to sit here condemning people and putting them down because they live counter to the way I live. I'm a stranger in their land, and I must always remember that. And I must always tell myself that I am a stranger in their land. So they should see me as awkward and strange, and I do things a little bit different than they do, but so be it. But we're one nation here. So I'm a part of that nation. So what am I doing? Am I going to aid the nation? Am I going to be a benefit to the nation? Or am I going to be a destroyer of the nation and a divider? No, I'm here to multiply this nation. I'm here to do great things for this nation. Now do you see why HaKohen is here in North America on these shores? He's here to renew the covenants, the Ten Commandments, to bring them back. The first set was broken, and still a lot of people operating under that broken set. Oh no, we got to wait on Jesus to return before we can get right. No, you don't. You get right now. I need to wait on Jesus to return to get right. Oh, we just do the best that we can. No, you don't. The covenants, the commandments have been renewed. All you have to do is restore yourself back to them. And that means, come Shiloh or Sheol, don't leave the Kohen. Whatever you do, don't leave the Kohen in our gate. We cannot do. Israel cannot afford especially in this time, at this age, to leave the Kohen. You can't afford to do it. You can't afford to do it. A life of blessings is mandated in our covenant. It's just, that's what it's supposed to be. Addition, not subtraction. So when you fall outside of the covenants and you're still dealing with broken covenants, then, of course things are going to subtract from you. You can't add to broken. You can, but you're just going to get more broken. But now they've been restored. And and I know all of you are seeing the evolution of the Torah, how it's evolving in your life. And it should evolve. And those of you who study human nature, you're seeing that evolution that doesn't evolve from a broken covenant. And you see it in people that say they're within our covenant, they're within our family, but they don't demonstrate and they don't exude the spirit of the Torah. They don't have that. And you see it. It's just born out. It's just going to come out. It just comes out, Mishpah. And that's where we are. HaKohen is holding up the renewed tablets. They've been restored. Just like the first ones now. Let's not get it twisted. It's just like the first ones. But just like HaKohen told you, Moses didn't come down with all of the Torah. He just came down with the commandments, with the covenants. And when HaKohen said that, it reminds me of what my mother tells me all the time. You know what she tells me? I tell you, I'm telling you, please listen to women. They have great revelation. How many of you understand that now? You men, you better listen to these women because my mother told me, she says this all the time. She said, "Oh, son, I don't have to. If I follow the 10 Commandments, I'm going to be fine." How many of you heard me say this, give this testimony about my mother? She says this all the time. Son, if I follow the 10 Commandments, I'm going to be fine. And do you know what? She may not be following the 10 Commandments all the way like she needs to by the letter of the law. But she follows those 10 Commandments, and guess what? My father has been married 3 times. My mother was his first wife. And all the wives, she's the only one still alive this day. The other 2 wives that my father had have passed on. What does that tell you? Think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. And of course that her firstborn son, has come back to the Torah. My father's firstborn son has come back to the Torah of Moses. And both my mother and father are still alive today. Great health, by the way. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? As a watcher and a witness. And my mother, she'll say this all the time. Son, if I follow the 10 Commandments, I'll be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm just going to follow the 10 Commandments. Boy, how wise is that? And she's following the 10 Commandments the best to her understanding, right? And do you not think the all-merciful one is going to honor her for that? To the best of her understanding? So is it my right as her firstborn son to tell her, oh, you going to hell, mama? Oh, you not, and judging her by a Torah standard? No, that's not my place. I respect and honor my mother. And what she says is so very wise. So very wise. Son, if I just follow the 10 Commandments, I'm going to be fine. I was like, hallelujah, mama. Amen. Amen. And she's still carrying on this day. Baruch Hashem. So proud of her little grandson as she has now from her firstborn son. And she was worried about me, I called you for a minute there. She thought I was kind of going to the same-sex gender. She's like, son, why don't you have any children? But Baruch Hashem, she don't need to ask that question anymore. And I give thanks to the Master. I give thanks to HaKohen for giving me guidance and direction and instruction. That I heeded, by the way. So take this to heart. Take it to your head, more importantly. Take it to your head. Use it to assist you and give you guidance. Is that you're not going to get on with the Torah, with the commandments, unless you're with the Kohen. That's just it. I'm not trying to put fire, ants on fire. Oh, here we go again. I'm not trying to put pants on fire with this, but again, at the end of the day, you have to do this. It's very important. Never forsake the Kohen in your gate. Never do that. Never, never, ever do that. When you do that, you sell yourself a disservice. And you have to save some people from themselves sometimes. You see, it's a great example of what not to do. You see, this man, word man for you, is a great example of somebody that's what? Walking around with a broken commandment, with broken commandments, broken tablets. He's walking around with broken tablets. Because what kind of life do you get out of, making statements like that? No kind of life. You bring death. And that's just what we do not need in this day and age. As people of the books. If you're not people of the books, then I don't expect you, and even people out of the books that don't follow the books have more respect for humanity as well, to where they won't make these kind of statements. Whilst you get others, just like Aaron said, whose heart is set on what? What did Aaron say? Aaron said, whose heart is set on doing what? Whose heart is set on doing what? Set on evil. Why would you call somebody a liar unless your heart is set on doing evil? You see where we're going? So it's easy as students of human nature to put people in their particular class. People that you need to group yourself with and people that you need to totally stay away from. And you judge it by their character and what they say. Is their heart set on doing evil? Well, what are they saying? And then you can put them in whatever group that you need to put them in to, either distance yourself from them or, attach yourself to these kind of people. Within the family, so-called within the family. So understand that going forward. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up and we'll leave it open for any questions. But again, take heed, take it to heed. The Ten Commandments, the new set is here. It has been restored. Been renewed. It's very, very important that we do understand that, Mishpah. Please understand that. And the only way you're going to get those commandments and get the instruction that's needed is you got to stick with the Kohen that the Master put in place for our age. That's very important. Because once you leave him, as you all are beginning to see, there's a lot of trouble that can come your way. And you yourself susceptible to what's out there. And you don't. You take yourself, you remove that covering for you. The Kohen's covering cannot be penetrated. But when you choose to go outside of that covering, then you leave yourself open for whatever. You take that to head, take that to heart, and really consider that in your meditations. Israel does not operate without the sons of Aaron. And I didn't even get into the part to where you've seen how the Levites saved Israel from total annihilation and reset mode. In the adjudicator part. But that'll be for another day, in another time. So consider these things going forward, Mishpah. On that note, we'll leave it open for any questions. If you have any questions, any concerns, please ask them at this time if you need to be. If not, I'm going to turn it back over to our Kohen, and we'll continue to keep it moving forward. And enjoy your 6 days of labor ahead. And Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to you all. Over to you, our Kohen.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. Elon, if you've written your script for the 14th day, now you take your break for 14 days. So that is one methodology, 14 days in, 14 days out. Visualization or imagination, 3 days in, 10 days out. So remember that, or you can even go up to 14 days. You can go 3 days in, imagination, visualization, and then you can go the same level as a script. You can take 2 weeks off and then wait for the manifestation, the desire, the seed to be planted. Because when you're doing your imagination, like I told you before, whenever you read the word pray in the Bible, read imagination. So now ask yourself how many times they did it. And so when the Bible says they came together once on the Shabbat, what does that tell you? They did it one time on the Sabbath. And then it doesn't command you to do it every day. Remember, there is no commandment in the Torah that says you have to pray 3 times a day. There is no commandment there. It is actually extrapolated from verses in the Deuteronomy and verses in the Psalms. It's extrapolated. In other words, we have no such commandment. The God did not say to you, I want to see you 5 o'clock in the morning and present. He didn't say that. So it's left entirely up to you. Entirely up to you how many times you pray a day. And there is no given number. It doesn't say morning, evening, afternoon. It doesn't say morning, afternoon, evening. But most of the Jewish sects today extrapolate that from Deuteronomy chapter 6, but it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that, because remember what I said, when it says pray, read imagination, read scripting. Then you will get it right. When you start doing that, you will know what Torah really is about. And when it says Jesus went up to the mountain, read meditation. And when it says that, it even tells you, King David, he meditated on the word of God. What is the word of God? He meditated on the word of God. That means he was using imagination as well. So there's lots of these little things, little nuances, little tidbits, and these are Torah nuggets that a lot of people are still yet to grab onto those and understand them. Hopefully, the next book I write, maybe I will, go into some of these things and explain a little bit more. But in the meantime, you have it firsthand. If you are worried about the coronavirus, my advice to you is twofold. Number one, do not watch news. Number two, do not read newspapers. Number three, isolate yourself. Number four, keep and make sure you have colloidal silver at home. And you already know about the onion and how to use it. Eat onions raw and keep onions open cut in the house. Cut them and put them in the house. Leave them for 3-4 days and then remove them and replace them. That's the only thing you need to do. You don't need to put sanitizers and all that in your home. As you've been instructed and told, hot water is enough. And if you really must get soap as well, you can, but hot water is sufficient. This virus does not survive above 26 degrees. Your hot water boils to 50 and above degrees Celsius, by the way, not Fahrenheit. So that means your water could be 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Your hot water that comes out of your tap can be 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Anything that touches that water, it will kill it. Especially your hands. You can't even take that 80 degrees Fahrenheit water, so you have to open your cold tap with it. So hence why it is clear that this virus survives under certain conditions and not others. Now, the question about the question that came from Devorah, I understood that question. Maybe Rabbi Kefa didn't quite understand it at the time. She was asking that, can we light a fire on the Sabbath? That was the question. Meaning, am I supposed to take a bath with cold water? The answer was no, because your lighting the fire was given at a time when we had no water heaters, no electric, and none of those items. Today, we have water heaters, we have electric timers. So when you set your timer and you say, hey, you're going to come on Monday at, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to come on Saturday at 6 o'clock in the morning, you are not lighting the fire. That's an automatic system. So you can take as many hot baths as you like. It is actually perfectly fine. And I spoke about shaving to the men of Israel. People who like to keep long beards. There was one guy, I actually reprimanded him for his long beard because it looked like he was Osama bin Laden's brother. So I told him that shave your beard off. You're disrespectful, you're not doing what I've told you. And he wants to get married, and no woman wants to marry him because of his 10-foot long beard. So he goes to me, oh, Rabbi, I thought it was supposed to be Torah that I'm supposed to keep beard. I said, where in the Torah did you see such a commandment that says, thou shalt keep a beard? Pray tell. And so he couldn't tell me that. So I said, there is no such commandment. And by the way, those of you who follow traditional Judaism, those of you who follow the traditional Orthodox rabbis, even they will not tell you to keep a beard, because they have permitted, listen to this, they have permitted all their congregation to shave their beards with an electric razor. And this is a get-out clause. If you shave with an electric razor, no harm has been done, but do not do it with a blade. By the way, there is no such commandment in the Torah that says I can shave with electric razor, but not with a blade. So again, totally miscalculated and misapplied commandment. The commandment says, that talks about the payors in the Torah, payors meaning your edges of your chin, they applied at a time when the pagans were cutting their skin as a sign of mourning for their people. And we were told not to do that. It has nothing to do with shaving, okay? So it doesn't apply to us today. So not shaving your peyotes was to do with a pagan ritual that we do not follow today. Today, most of the nations we live in, they live in very clean customs. No nation on the earth that I know today does this pagan ritual of cutting themselves and bleeding their skin and, standing before a corpse and crying. No, nobody does it. Muslims don't do it. Christians don't do it. All the other people, Hindus don't do it. So this was a custom at a time that Israel was out there, but it is no longer applicable. So why would you worry about shaving today? Because the commandment is given for a particular reason. A mourning custom, you do not cut your payot for a mourning custom. Read that in the Torah. Then you will never have a problem with shaving. So if you have a 10-foot beard, shave it off. Because you know what? You go through customs and you go through immigration with a 10-foot beard, they're going to say, step aside, sir. We need to, pat you down. Because they're going to think you're a terrorist. You're about to blow some plane off. So they're going to stand you aside and you will sit in the plane and everybody's afraid of you and fearful. Oh, that man's got a beard. Maybe he's a Muslim terrorist. So why are you putting yourself in such a situation? Either you're stupid or you haven't got common sense. Look at the world we live in today. Look at what's happening around you today. And I'm just these kind of people, I just put them to one side. Because I don't have time to keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I told that man that, I have a commandment. I told that person he's actually a Jew from the tribe of Judah. He actually has a lineage. He knows about his forefathers. One of the very few people who did not remain in slavery, who wasn't a slave ever, and he knows his lineage, that he's from Judah. And I told him that you should be ashamed of yourself. Because you are speaking before a Kohen, and a Kohen is telling you, shave your bloody beard off. Take it off. And you're telling me that, I did it because I saw the rabbis with long beards, and I think it's in the Torah somewhere, and I told you, no, it's not in the Torah anywhere. There is no thou shalt keep a beard command. And so, he was arguing with me one day, and I told him, what the Torah tells me? If you don't listen to me, I cut you off. You're no longer part of my community. So, I will heed that advice. And I left it at that. This is how I have to deal with some people. They think they know more Torah than I do, and they think they know more Torah than my forefathers did. So, be very wise to what you do, because we live in a very different world out there. You go around, dressed like, in black and dressed like a Muslim terrorist, then what do you think is going to happen to you at airports, at, hotels, at, people in gatherings, or maybe in places like other, places where people go shopping. So, be mindful of the environment you live in. And when you're not mindful, then that's when we cause problems for other people. Your Torah, if you want to keep a 10-foot beard, then stay indoors all the time and keep a 10-foot beard. Then that's okay. That's your personal business. That's what you like to do. Don't go around, dragging your beard to Walmart and everywhere else, and, everybody's afraid to look at you because they think you're dressed like a Muslim. You're wearing clothes like a Muslim, and you may not be a Muslim, but people are fearful because you're living in a Gentile nation. You're not in Israel. So I think that people have to be mindful of where they live. So again, Torah is about preserving life, and Torah is about preservation of our society as a people. Torah does not tell me to enforce my laws on other people. The room is opened, Lion Princess, at earlier times, such as, I'm not sure, because UK right now is about 4:45, so we opened the room at Eastern time, 9:30. So that, I think, would be 9:30, 10, 11, 12, 1. That would be 1:30 if you are 4 hours forward, or it will be 5 hours, so that would be 2:30, yeah. It's be 2:30 your time. So around about 2:30, if I open the room, I would open it around about 2:30 your time. And sometimes Rabbi Kefa might open it a little later than that, because he goes by the Central Time, which is an hour behind us, by the way, Eastern Time. So again, Central Time would be around 8:30, I believe. Yeah, 8:30, and that would be our 9:30. So just bear that in mind. We do open the room sometimes earlier. Sometimes I even open it 1 hour earlier. But then, people are just waiting around and they're saying, when are we going to speak? When are we going to speak? So I tend to leave it till about half an hour before the class starts. And sometimes I start the class 20 minutes earlier, sometimes 15 minutes earlier, depending on the gravity of the situation at hand. Sometimes I do start earlier because I may have things to tell people that are relevant to their lives, Corona and other fears. So like I said, that the best thing you can do for yourself is don't keep watching media, which is only talking about Corona, death, fear, and so on and so forth. And newspapers, total full of fear, remain away from slanderous media. Newspapers are just a form of slander. Remain away from it. Remain away from media. And if you want to catch headlines, you have the internet, you have Google. You can go on Google and catch some headlines. And those of you who like investing in stocks, I can give you some great examples of stock investing. And one of the stocks I will highly encourage you to look at would be Clorox. Kefa was telling me about this last week. And Clorox went really up fast when they were talking about sanitizers running out during President's speech. CLX is a symbol for that. New York Stock Exchange is where they operated. And that went over 13% this year alone already. But it's going to go up higher. So Clorox is one to follow. The other one you want to follow is the company that makes masks, vaccines actually. The ones who makes vaccines, that's INO. Inovio, that also is one to follow. INO is a symbol on NASDAQ. And the other one to follow would be a company called APT or Alpha Pro Tech. And that's a stock that's also going to be working on corona defense, because they produce face masks, by the way. So APT, remember that trades on the somewhere on the New York Stock Exchange, and I guess it's not that expensive. The other one that you want to be in is a company called DocuSign, as on NASDAQ, DOCU, and that's to do with digital signing. Of course, with the virus, running around the way it is, people are going to be looking at digitally signing documents, not having to be in places where there's possibility of being infected by other people. Because, UK, I heard that the UK is setting a law that you're not allowed to have a gathering of more than 100 people. So, yes, more interest rates to be dropped for the American people. Great news for you and us is that interest rates are going to be dropped further. Possibly, we might get at least between 0.5% to 1% drop. England already dropped 0.5%. America already dropped 0.5% emergency, things that happened last week. So I believe that more is yet to come, because America is going to have to do a little bit more for its people. And and that's where the president is right now. President Trump is a great president. He's on the forefront of fighting this particular virus and dealing with it quickly and dealing with it in a timely manner. I believe that as soon as our temperatures rise, I believe end of this month, end of March, when April starts, I believe our temperature is going to rise in America to, 60, 70, 80s, 90s, and this disease is going to fade. It's going to fade into oblivion. And nobody's going to be talking about coronavirus come summer. Because summer, this will be finished. Because this will be what we call a peak cycle. It would have hit a peak and then it would have hit a decline. So we're only seeing a temporary knock-on effect with our stock market, declining, temporary knock-on effect. And it was bound to happen because stock market had gone up for 10 years. We need to have a correction at some point, and coronavirus may be what did it. And that's to be expected. And so, those of you who like investing, maybe the best thing to do right now is to stay on the sidelines and do nothing, hold cash. Maybe that is the best advice. Or maybe, if you like to take a risk, then you take a risk with companies that are going to be in the fight with the virus and vaccines. Whether you believe in vaccines or not, I would tell you one thing, as Rabbi Kefa said, there's great bargains in the stock market right now. I mean, airline companies' shares have been halved, 50% knocked off within 2 weeks. Imagine buying airline shares for United Airlines, Delta Airlines, the casino companies like WYNN, Wynn, and then there's Las Vegas Sands. Shares have been almost halved. Oil shares plummeted, and I thought it was a great strategy for the President of the U.S. to say, we bought tons of oil at cheap, and now we are storing it for future use. I thought that was a very smart statement, very smart thing to do, is to wait for the oil prices to drop, then buy the oil for our country. I think that's great, very smart move. So we have a smart president, we have a good president, and we can see from his actions that he's taking on the ground, because it's not what a person says, it's what a person does that matters. So look at the actions of the man, and he's helping the people. He's trying to curtail the disease. He's trying to protect American lives, and he said they're working with other countries too, and that is true. So with that, wasn't it a surprise that all countries that they blocked, he said, well, you can go to UK, but can't go to Europe for a month. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. The Queen has a house in the UK, and he allowed the UK to stay away. And there were some people criticizing that decision yesterday, and in the president's meeting saying, why did you allow the UK to remain excluded from the list, and said Europe, you can't go to Europe, but you can go to UK. And he said, well, the reason is very simple. That's what I was told by some experts, and so I followed their advice. So my point is this, that president is not answerable to Joe Public on little things. But I believe that this travel ban is starting. It's already started actually, and for 30 days. But the important thing is this. Listen to this. We have a great relation with the UK. Not only the Cohens are of the UK, but we have a great relation as Americans. We have a great relation with the UK, and even though he has great relation with Europe, but the president is not always at the same footing with Europe, but he is with the UK, because the UK Prime Minister sees an eye to eye with the president, so they are great friends. Boris Johnson, as you know, the Prime Minister of UK today. So having said that, may the God of Israel keep America safe, may the God of Israel keep UK safe, and Europe, and the rest of the world. So, we are here, and we are going to deal with this crisis, but we are placed in a great position as people of the books to help our neighbors around us. So think about that for a minute. It's very important. And I wanted to give you a testimony. 3 months ago, I started to write a script for peace in Afghanistan. And I started to write that script that peace needs to come to that nation, because, so many people are fighting over there with, soldiers and troops on the ground. And I started to write that, and last week, Afghanistan's Taliban fighters they made peace with the US. A peace treaty was signed last week in Doha, in Qatar, for a peace treaty. And I just wanted to remind you that I was behind that peace, because I was writing about it from 3 months ago, that Afghanistan is going to see peace and prosperity as well as a result. So don't think that just because you're living in a different country doesn't mean that you can't bring peace to another nation. You can. You have the power to do that. And I use my power to do that. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Because when we use our powers that are given us from the Torah, the law of Moses, we can change the world. One country at a time. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So, be prepared. Ilan, you're saying that on Passover we can work during the day, correct? And commence the feast in the evening. Is that correct? I know the weekly Shabbat starts at sunrise, but for feast, I want to make sure I take the appropriate days off. Okay, if it's the Passover, if it's Nisan 14, then yes, you're allowed to work on that day. But Nisan 15 is the sunrise day. That's actually a day off. That would be Nisan 15. That's what we call, although it's traditionally referred to as Passover, but actually it's the day of unleavened bread. These are two separate feasts, but today they are all wrapped up into one and all called Passover. But within the Passover, there are two festivals that are joined together. So just be aware of that. So 15 day only is a day off, no work. If you can manage it, if you're allowed a day off in your Gentile nation, if they allow you a day off, then sure, take it off. And the 8th day is take it off as well. And if you're not allowed, if you have to work because you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're in the police, you're in the army, then so be it, you work because you're in a Gentile nation. You must provide food for your family first. Remember, Torah is about life. Life. Choose life, not death. So I will leave you with that. That's very important to understand. And any questions before I close the room? Anybody have any questions? If I have missed anything, because I will, I'm testing different models of scripting, and I will probably speak more about them as time goes on, because I'm not yet finished my testing. I'm testing different number of writings, different number of methods, and I have some students with me, cooperating with me to do the same. So I will be able to give you certain conclusive results on our testing systematically how things work. Luxury class, you're saying that your uncle bought the liposomal vitamin C and he likes it. That's great. So vitamin C, as we said last week, liposomal vitamin C is great. You can use it, but there are also alternatives as well. There are alternatives like that have higher capacity of vitamin C than vitamin C itself. There are certain berries, certain fruits that you can definitely Google, and they have more vitamin C than liposomal vitamin C. So those you're going to have to Google out and check for yourself. They are different herbs, they are different berries, and not rosehip, no, there's another one, can I think is one, and there's a couple of others that have very high quantities of vitamin C. So they are something that you may want to look at, alternatives to vitamin C, because vitamin C liposomal might be a bit expensive for some people, and you may find that you might be able to get some of these other herbal remedies that are maybe inexpensive and maybe higher capacity of vitamin C. So there's a lot of those out there. Without giving you a huge list, I know there's at least 3 herbal remedies that are berry form that actually have higher varieties of vitamin C in it. So that might be for somebody. If somebody says they cannot they cannot stomach normal vitamin C for whatever reason, maybe they have bad stomach or cannot take it for some reason, then there are other versions of it, and I would ask you to seek the other varieties as well. Okay, so with that, have a great Shabbat, have a great week ahead. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, and be in the Torah, and be succinct and be good, and do the right thing. Until next week, Shabbat Shalom and Shalom Shalom to you.